everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Fourtress of, a podcast about movies and TV shows and video games and lots of pop culture nerd things. My name is Oscar. I'll be one of your hosts today, and with me, per usual, are two of your other hosts. We got Devin and Brian. I went the opposite of the alphabet to freshen things up.
Ooh, it's because I'm black, bro.
Mm-hmm. It's not Black History Month anymore, though, Brian, you know?
Oh, no.
Just regular months.
Damn it. Pretty sure it's Women's History Month, first of all. You know, that's fine.
That's true. How you guys doing on this beautiful night? We're
Ooh.
filming at night. We haven't done this in a while.
Yeah, prime time, baby. After the lights are out.
Hey,
Or the lights are
8
on.
p.m.
the sun's
Eastern,
out.
7 p.m. Central, the shit we never understood when we were children,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you lived on the East Coast.
Damn right. No more only daylight savings now, right? Not anymore, not daylight savings.
Oh, yeah. Hey,
Right. That happened, right?
yeah.
I think it's just
Like
that
it's
we won't
official?
do it again in the fall. Like we won't do the
Oh,
fall
is it
back.
official?
Like we're never falling back
Yeah, we're never
ever
gonna
again,
fall
I
back.
think.
So it's just darker in the
No,
morning.
my sleep, no. I don't know if that actually went through. We're going to have to check on that. I don't want to get roasted on the podcast. We're just straight lying.
Dude, it was
We might be.
I feel like
yeah.
it was like
I know
did
it went
hear
to Congress,
that,
but I don't know if it actually passed anywhere.
No, but it passed in the Senate. I don't know if it passed in the
But
House.
did it pass
yet, but
in? Yeah, that's, yeah.
Okay. So we're halfway there to be.
We're
it being
halfway.
official.
We're halfway to not having to do fallback. I'm all for it. Okay, longer nights.
Me too.
Longer
Yeah.
sun in the evenings.
It's going to be like
Who cares?
fucking dark till 10 a.m. for half the year.
Yeah.
Morning people are going to piss and shit and cry.
But that means the sun will be up at 9 p.m.
Exactly.
Let's fucking go, boys.
That's
and
what
I'm
we care
all
about.
for it. I'm all for it.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Are you guys ready then? Should we just jump into our first segment of the week?
Oh, you already know.
Let's do it.
News talk.
Alrighty. First news story. Came pretty late, like right after we recorded last week. But it seems like CD Projekt Red, they announced it. They're doing a new
Ooh.
Witcher game.
Hmm.
Witcher 4 is what most people are calling it. Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm excited. I haven't even finished 2 or 3 or 1, but I'm excited.
I'm not going to play 1 or 2. I thought 2 was incredibly boring, first of all. So I'll just
What?
play 3.
See, I enjoyed
Story-wise
it.
was so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I tried to play it on Alex's Xbox back in the day, I think in school, and it was just, I was not having a good time. I thought it was a really boring
Oh,
game.
man.
Oh, man.
But you missed out
Damn.
on Jorvik.
Yeah, I really like that
Jorvik,
one.
the cool badass elf guy. He was so sick.
I don't know. Maybe I'll revisit. I want to really dive into a new RPG, but it's just that game is
I'm
just so damn
surprised that they haven't done like a full remaster of at least 1.
Yeah,
Like
true.
I'm thinking, like if
True.
they're looking for money after Cyberpunk, remake 1.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Which brings us. That's why I think I've said this on the podcast before, and I don't know if I said mark my words, but I knew when CD Projekt Red, when Cyberpunk failed, you knew that it was only a matter of time until another Witcher game was going to come out, because that is a cash cow, and they're going to milk that thing to stay
Yeah.
alive.
So I'm pretty sure that you said that as one of your predictions. I don't know if you said a game was coming out this year, if you said a game was going to be like discussed this year, like they were going to say that they were making a new game.
Yeah, like when we all learned that Cyberpunk was not worth the hype, then I was like, okay, they're gonna like panic and do another Witcher game, and that's exactly what this is. Like,
Oh man, I mean it'll be cool.
yeah, I hope it's like a prequel timeline or something. I hope they don't do anything with the characters we already know, because no spoilers, but like they've wrapped the story very neatly at the end of Witcher 3. So I
Yeah.
hope they don't drag out Geralt and whoever else or whatever.
I would say that they could do a series story because,
Mhm.
like, I think especially now that the show is coming out on Netflix, I think how prominent her character is
Mhm.
in the whole story, and mostly because she's the most prominent in the 3rd game out of all of them. And
Mhm.
so I think the fact that you got a little of a taste of her in the 3rd one, giving her whole series would be kind of cool. But I don't know. It would be interesting. I would like to see a whole new timeline. But they
Mhm.
would say, because they only released that photo of a Witcher medallion, and they did officially come out and say that it is a new school. It's a new guild. It is the
Ah.
School of the Lynx.
Okay.
So it is which would go towards what you're saying, that it could just be an entirely new cast of people.
Right. Yeah. Which I think that would be a good way to do it. So I don't know if you do it, set it after the events of Witcher 3 or before. I think before would be good. I don't know.
I could see after. I could see like 50 years after, like, I don't know, Geralt's
Mm-hmm.
death or whatever, something like that. Like the way they did with kind of like Mass Effect and Andromeda, even though that game sucks. But just something like it still has it so it's in the lore and people like maybe reference the characters that you know, but it's far enough away that you don't feel like you have to have them necessarily in there. Or even in Legend of Korra, we do have a couple of the characters that you know in there, but they're just hella old.
Right.
But don't make them so that it's like all about, just don't make it around Geralt anymore. I think that trilogy is enough for a story of a character when it comes to video games for me personally.
To your point, Brian, about like Star Wars, I wouldn't even mind like if he does show up as like a cool cameo maybe at one point, but he's not even like a side character. He's literally maybe in there for like an hour in one kind of mission strain, and that's it. And that'd be I don't know. I don't know.
BioWare does a good job about that. So maybe they'll take some things from BioWare, like Dragon Age, where it's like they reference your character from Dragon Age Origin and Inquisition, but like it's like, oh well, you know, she's in Florida, living her dream or something. You know what I mean? Some shit like that, and you don't actually see that character ever. And I think that's super cool, like stuff like that. So maybe do something like that. I don't know. Put it in a different area so that they can't even interact because they're too far away from each other. Maybe something.
That is one thing I would say is that I think set it at some other piece of land in this world. I don't know how people would feel about it because clearly we do know there are other territories in other places. Like we know that like where the dwarves' main land, their land, like it could be that whole area that I don't think any of the games have touched.
That'd be cool.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Devin, but something different.
Yeah,
which would give them an excuse to not know where the other characters are.
Yeah. And I think that you could go either way. You could go in the future or you could go in the past because there's plenty of room to do something in the past that would have no direct impact on like the events of the Witcher story. So you could do a prequel, you could do a sequel. Either way, I just think it's if they're doing a School of the Links, that seems like they're probably not going to do the same characters again, which is I think a great thing. So, and it'd be fun, like for you know fans that have been around to read the books and watched the show and read played the games. I think it would be a nice breath of fresh air to have some new characters, new timelines, new drama. Let's just do a completely new thing.
You know what they could do? They could like it could even be set in the same time at a different school or something, or maybe even like some distance. But like you could get like minor characters from those games appear as more side characters or prominent characters, or even again as minor characters. Like Geralt's got a bunch of dwarf friends like Zoltan and Yarpen. They could appear in this game and just happen to come across these new characters type of thing. I bet you that's something that they would do.
I was thinking something like that as well. I don't know how many people played Dragon Age 2 because I know people didn't like it. I thought it was a fine game. But one of the things about that game was it took place during the same time that Dragon Age Origin was actually taking place. So events that were happening in that game were referenced during it, but you were just in a different place.
Right.
And that was kind of cool. I thought that was interesting to kind of see that happening adjacent to what was happening in this world, like big world scale thing. The last thing I'll say about the whole situation is, God, please work on fleshing out the characters. The only thing is when you do have very beloved characters in an original trilogy of a game, and then you like reboot or do something where it's a new cast of people, it often doesn't feel very good because you just can't relate the same way. Like the characters in Mass Effect Andromeda are just awful. I can't even tell you one of their names, to be honest with. All I know is Ryder, my girl. Everybody else fucking couldn't care less about because they were just so boring. And I think that happens a lot of times where they reboot it and the characters it just doesn't feel the same. Legend of Korra did a good job about that. I care about the characters in Legend of Korra.
I'm trying to remember one single name of a crewmate in Andromeda.
I just remember there was the black dude that has always had the worst fucking quips every single time he killed somebody. And I was like, he is never going to be in my group ever again. Please leave. And there was female Garrus.
I can't remember any of that.
And she was boring as a doorknob as well. And there was that girl with the haircut. She had the Karen haircut. She was hella gay, so that was cool.
His name, all right, I remember one.
Oh, his name was Liam.
Liam. There we go. We got one.
They had a person named Liam in space?
Yeah. Yep. And he looked like fucking Lucio from Overwatch. Had a very like Caribbean kind of accent going on there. And it was, that game sucks.
That's funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for a new Witcher game. That'd be kind of cool.
They just got to re-win the faith of the community because they really blew it with Cyberpunk, and it's super unfortunate the way the trials that game went through. Even though I'm pretty sure people say it's okay now, like it's a playable game, and even fun. But unfortunately, they shut the bed real bad.
Yeah, I do. I do want to play it one day. I want it to actually be playable first.
I can play it on PC. I will not play it on your console though.
Yeah, it's a little worrisome. I will add one thing is that Jason Slama on Twitter, he did say that he's the one who is directing it, and he did say that there will be no crunch. So let's hope that sticks.
Let's hope that's not a lie.
Yeah. Let's hope so. Yeah, we'll see. This game's probably not going to come out for 4 years, I would
Yeah.
imagine.
Yeah.
Maybe
I don't-
more. Who
Yeah, I don't see
knows?
that coming out anytime soon.
Enough to keep CD Projekt Red alive, because that's what they got to do.
For real.
Yeah.
I do wonder if they're gonna try to like time it with any kind of season of The Witcher on Netflix or something. But I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Next up, the Batman. We talked about it last week,
Mhm.
and we missed our timing by like 12 hours. Because right after that, Warner Brothers released a full 5-minute deleted scene.
Mhm.
Spoilers for the Batman. If you haven't seen it, by the way, do not continue if you don't want any spoilers for that. They released a full 5-minute scene in Arkham, and it's the full scene with the Joker that we heard about, but they cut from the movie. It's Batman 101 with the Joker, basically in a Hannibal Lecter type scenario where he's going to him to basically get some insight on the Riddler and help him maybe catch the Riddler. Which I like that idea. And I did like the scene. I will admit, first off, by saying I did like the scene.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I do think their take on Joker's pretty cool. I mean, I'm biased a little bit because I really like the dude that plays what's his face in Fallen Order, and also the redhead guy on Shameless. Sorry, I can't remember the name of any characters
Yeah.
ever. Whatever. I just think he's an amazing actor on Gotham, and I really wish they had taken his kind of take on Joker, just because he's brilliant, and I really want him to just have all the success in the world. That being said, I do think this looked really cool. I'm glad it wasn't in the movie because it would have been a little bit too much monologue of crazy people
Yeah.
in jail, while Batman sits there looking brooding, just brooding over and over again. Like that's fine.
Mhm.
I know I
Yeah.
suggested before we were on cast right now that maybe it should have been like, maybe if they cut it a little bit, they could have put it as the after credit scene. That could have been interesting since they
Matt
already
Reeves
did.
just put out a 3-hour Batman movie. He is not going to cut any bit of that scene if they put it in the after
You're
credit.
right.
It would have been a 5-minute after credit scene.
I'm pretty sure cutting this scene actually cut a little part of his soul out, to be honest. So.
It did.
Yeah.
This man couldn't even cut paper with scissors, all right? This man does not cut anything.
I mean, if you would cut a little bit of that fucking motorcycle scene, then maybe you would have had some time to put this in. I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe you didn't have to show the random sexual tension of motorcycles. This could have been okay.
You
Yeah.
are not wrong there. Yeah.
I just think, I'm glad they didn't put it in the movie. It was cool. I think it's a good take, I guess, for like, I just feel like we've seen the Joker so many times, but
Yeah.
it's
Correct.
a good take. And he did look like he actually looked like he had chemical burns, but
He looks gross. He's not great to look at. He
Yeah.
looks, yeah.
he
It's-
didn't
it's-
seem
ugh,
very,
it's rough.
jolly. Like the Joker's usually kind of jolly, like kind of like, ha ha ha, like
Yeah, very. I don't give a fuck. This guy looks like an actual psychopath that's been through some shit.
Yeah, he didn't look great. But yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's good that they didn't keep it in there because, like, they just gotta listen, man. Batman in this movie was just walking around anywhere he wanted to go, and he had to sign like a guest form to like go see the Joker and the Riddler. So it's like for Batman to just be walking around inside of Arkham, it just doesn't feel right.
Yeah. No, he's him waiting in the waiting room trying
Yeah.
to wait for his turn is a bit weird, but
Waiting in the lobby for the elevator.
I
Who's next? Fucking Iceman. What's the guy? Iceman or Dr. Freeze or whatever. He shows up.
They're all just
Is Arnold Schwarzenegger again?
Oh, please
And then
do it.
Batman's like, I need the lights off in the elevator because when the elevator comes, it needs to be dark in case any enemies are up there.
This
So you
world
gotta,
is
turn the
so
lights out on the elevator.
damn dark
don't
still. I do hope that they don't use him in the second movie, in the sequel. But if they were to, I hope that they keep it at a minimum like this. I hope they keep him in Arkham as kind of like a Hannibal Lecter-esque type of character where he just goes there for advice, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just because, it is a bit of Batman. What's the word I'm looking for?
It's kind of fatigue. It's like
thank
Spider-Man
you.
and Green Goblin. Like, so we've seen Green Goblin in the beginning of Spider-Man so many times that I'm finally glad that we just didn't do it as
Right.
much. You know what I mean? Like, we kind of did it, but that kind of thing.
But yeah.
There's so many cool
Yeah.
villains in Batman that it's like, go ahead and give them a little bit of shine. It doesn't have to be Joker.
Right, like the Riddler. Like that was great. They
Right.
gave the Riddler his moment, which is nice.
I still wish he was
do
super
something
gay
else.
Jim Carrey, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be tough for them to do Ivy nowadays because I feel like if you really want me to side with the trust fund billionaire over the girl that just wants to grow a lot of plants,
Like right. Yeah.
But
I
that's what's kinda
want a
cool.
poison ivy. I want an ivy.
Yeah, I kind of like that kind of stuff that's been showing up. Falcon Winter Soldier did something like that, where it's like, damn, the bad guys might kind of be right. You're over here working with the military, you weirdo, and these people are just trying to have a home. I like when you can commiserate a little bit, Riddler even a little bit. Maybe
Yeah.
not quite how he went about it. It was a little crazy, but
Right.
he had a point. You know what I mean?
You find out that Wayne Industries is actually just a big oil company, and it's like most of their investments are in oil, and you're like,
Right.
not really vibing with Batman right now.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I'm hoping for an Ivy, but we'll see. I think he's talked about like Mr. Freeze, which I think would be pretty cool as well, like an actual serious take, or Arnold again. Fuck it.
I'd love to see what a serious
Why
take of Mr.
not?
Freeze would look like.
I mean, watch that animated episode of Heart of Ice, where that was like the big origin like story of that got him going as a serious character. I
Oh,
feel,
yeah?
and it was
Okay.
great. It's all about like his wife being frozen, and he has motivation, and he kind of has a anti-hero vibe with Batman, which is why Batman never like he sides with him every now and then because he knows he's trying to do it to save his wife.
I don't always beat the shit out of you.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I think that would be cool, or an Ivy. I would like that, but we'll see. Next, Disney, who's been in a bit of hot water lately. I mean, they've always done some weird shit, but they have reportedly is they're going to restore a scene that was cut from the Lightyear movie, which involved a same-sex kiss. Why they cut it? Fuck them. I don't know. They suck. But it does seem like a weird reaction that they're putting it back in just because they've been having issues with this Florida "you're not allowed to say gay" law that they're dealing with, and a lot of their employees have been protesting Disney World, and it's like that's I mean, they have every right. They should protest. It's fucking ridiculous. And it does seem like this is Disney kind of trying to, I don't know, have a good face. I don't know.
Yeah, they backpedaled hardcore, and it was solely to save face, and that's unfortunate. I hate that we have to bully companies to do right by people when they just should. And also, I just want to establish on the podcast right now: fuck anybody that has any kind of bullshit response about, well, I don't want to have my kids see this kind of thing. But then every single time that a kid has a friend of the different sex, you always ask their boyfriend and girlfriend and shit like that. Like, just say you're homophobic and leave it at that. Because if you think that it's okay for a heterosexual couple to share a kiss and a children's show, but not a homosexual couple to do the same, you're homophobic. I mean, there's no way around it. And that's what's happening here. Is a lot of people that are protesting against it are just homophobic, and they're just using a lot of words to say so. So hell yeah. Let them kiss. They're in a relationship. It's fine. It happened in every single Disney movie that came out in the last 80 years.
Right. I did like Oscar Isaac's been recently like doing some press, I think for Moon Knight or maybe something else. And they asked him about it. I think it was for Moon Knight, obviously, because Marvel is owned by Disney now. And his response, I think, was just, "Oh, what's my response?" And he just goes, "Gay, gay, 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 gay," something like that. He just said "gay" a million times. And they're like, "Oh, what do you think about this rule that you can't say gay or this law in Florida?" And he just said it, and it's like that's the best response you could ever have.
Oh my god!
I hope he had to pay money to do so. That just makes it better. And he's like, "I'll pay money for that."
Yeah.
I mean, he also did say like he hopes that Marvel and like Disney do the right thing. It sucks because Disney has like normally given like a lot of money towards political candidates in Florida because they're based there, obviously, and it's not great, not good look for them.
It's just so funny because and that's the kind of issue with wokenomics that I feel like more people need to understand about Big Core is they'll do whatever they can to get your money, but they won't do anything that's actually right by the people. Right. Because think of all the movies they've made, and Kanto just came out recently, being about colored families and things like that, Prince and the Frog, stuff like that. And you're like, oh my God, Disney cares about me. They don't.
Right.
They care about
if
your
Disney
money,
found out that they could like dissect us and like sell our organs for millions of dollars, they would do it.
They would do it, no question. And that's what kind of makes me mad. And it sucks because it's like I do like the representation in their movies and stuff like that, but I know it's not. And I'm not going to say it's not in good faith because I know there are developers and people on the team that they're doing this with all of their heart, and I appreciate that a lot. But I know the big people up top, the big suits, are not pushing these ideas further because they think that we need more black people because this is just it's not representation enough. It's like, no, we know those black people are gonna go to that movie and we're gonna make $3 billion on this movie. That's what we made, you know?
Yeah. I feel like Disney, I've always kind of wondered this about Disney because they're stuck between in this place of like the creators who are probably very much about, you know, like doing the right thing and like sending the right message. And that's why they make movies like, you know, Encanto and Turning Red and all these, you know, basically every Disney movie ever. And then the suits that run Disney that like are, you know, more about investment portfolio and like stuff like that. It's like that relationship just has to be so weird. But like really though, you don't the suits don't have to like take the other way. But Florida is just a fucking weird place right now with the
It's a weird
stuff that they're
state
trying
in
to pull.
It's been a weird state for a long time, not just right now. It needs to go ahead and fall
Yeah.
into the Gulf of Mexico, to be honest. Like, it's time to go.
Yeah.
I'm cool with the 49 states of America. All right, spoilers. I didn't say this earlier, so I'll say it now. Check the time codes for anything you want to skip ahead to or skip past. Spoilers, yada, yada, yada. That's all down there. So spoilers right now for like The Last of Us and Last of Us Part 2 real quick. Ellie, as most people know, is a gay character. And I hate, it's like the same thing that people had an issue with when it came to like Last of Us Part 2. They thought it was so woke and yada, yada, yada because they addressed her sexual orientation. And it's like, they never go say, Ellie's not like, there's no big scene in any of it where she's like, I'm gay, yada. She literally, all that happens in the first game's DLC, there's a moment and she kisses her best friend Riley, who just happens to be a girl.
Right.
And it's like, it's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, how is it any different from earlier in the game when it's alluded to that Joel had a relationship with Tess?
Right.
And it's like, they don't say, we kiss, we're straight, we're fucking, or some shit like that. So it's like, it's the same exact thing. It's just not your norm. So get over it.
And that's the issue. It's the unconscious bias that people kind of have when it comes to that situation where they're so used to seeing heterosexual relationships that they do get weird about homosexual relationships. And then they have to defend it to feel like they're not, being a bad person. Like, oh, I don't have any issue with it. I just don't want to show my kids. Why not? Because I don't know.
I don't have an issue with it. I just never want to see it ever.
Yeah, exactly. That's all it is. And it's like, yes, you are homophobic. I hate to tell you those kind of things. Because, I mean, they have a trans character in there as well in Last of Us Part 2. And I don't love the way they treat the trans character's story. His story kind of... Their story kind of sucks. But it's kind of like one of those situations where it's like, people are like, oh, this is woke. It's supposed to be SJW bullshit. It's like, no, it's representing a character that's never represented in a game ever. And people,
it's like, can you name another game where there's a trans character in there at all?
Right. It's like those kind of things. And it's like, I appreciate some of the takes, and I didn't exactly love the way that Naughty Dog treated that one in particular. It's still, I don't know. People just suck.
It's people bitching because it's something they're not used to.
Exactly.
And only you can say to them is like, the world moves and you're going to have to move with it or you're going to get stuck behind it.
Exactly.
That's all you can really do.
That is part of human evolution, and people don't even understand. It wasn't like that when I grew up. Exactly. It never was. It never has been.
It's like slavery wasn't a thing when you grew up, and we've changed that now. It's like, come on.
That's how humanity literally works. It's never been like it was when you were growing up. That is the point. Like,
Yeah, I think the heart of the issue here was like just their slow response to it. It's like, if they pay this governor for if they lobby this governor, like, they could just say behind closed doors, like, hey, by the way, we're going to flame you for this, like, publicly, but like, we're still, here's your, millions or whatever that we're,
James Gunn,
you get reelected. Yeah. But like, they could still come out publicly pretty quick and condemn it. But, I don't know. It's just weird that they were so slow to respond when it's like, just widely being condemned as a pretty bad piece of policy.
It's a ridiculous. Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous that they let it go this far. It's like, maybe no one will notice.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad that it's in the movie. Right, Let's just say that. I'm glad that it's back in the movie. It should never have been cut out in the first place.
Disney should, it's kind of a, what do you say, red flag that it did take them so long to publicly come out. Like, so I don't know. Disney's on the hot seat a little bit for this.
A little bit. But speaking of being on the hot seat a little bit, we're going back to games. Rockstar's been on a bit of a hot seat given how not great a lot of their shit's been lately with the GTA trilogy and GTA 5's pricing recently on the next gen consoles. Well, they've just done another thing that I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know how most people feel about it, but it's weird. They announced that they are doing what is called GTA Plus, and it is a subscription-based service for GTA Online, where you'll pay a certain amount of money a month. I think it's $6 a month, and you'll get like bonuses every time. Some of them are money, some of them are locations and yada yada, garages, blah blah blah, bonus XP. This is I couldn't believe they did this. How much money do you make on GTA Online that you need to now do this?
So I have a funny take about this. I always hate paid subscriptions, like, period, when it comes to this kind of stuff, because we have shit like Fortnite that comes out for free, and of course it's microtransactions. There's already microtransactions in Grand Theft Auto. Having both is kind of scummy. That being said, it kind of gives me some Star Wars, the Old Republic kind of vibes, where it's like, you can still play the game for, I guess, free, quote unquote. I know we talked about it last week, how this game is going to cost money for the PS5, or I don't know. That's really stupid. But I mean, I'm surprised it took them this long to go that route. It's what is it, $5 to do this, to get money and stuff like that. I think they're really trying to make it cheap like this because they want to stop people from cheating. Since that's what a lot of people do.
Maybe.
People cheat a lot in this game and print money and all this other goofy shit. So they're trying to do this kind of thing where maybe it's a little bit more accessible for people to kind of be on a fair playing field with everyone if they have a little bit of
Right.
money.
Hmm.
As someone that's played a game that had a subscription fee and also microtransactions with World of Warcraft, they make a shit
That's
ton of
what
money.
I was. That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna address the fact that you still pay for WoW.
Yeah.
So I was like, I was wondering how you would feel about this. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's ridiculous that you still play for World of Warcraft, and I'm pretty sure that's going to go away once Microsoft fully acquires Activision Blizzard. But I mean, to this day, this game has been out for 17 years, and people have always been fine with paying a subscription. That's $15 a month. That's a lot of money. So maybe subscription fee can still work for a lot of people. I guess Battle Pass is kind of like that. It's basically a Battle Pass. And Fortnite or Apex Legends or anything like that, Warzone. So
it is just. I guess the only difference it's weird is that it's literally a monthly service type of thing, which is not something I feel like, at least from my memory, besides like a WoW or something like that you really see. Because like Battle Passes, it's like they come out every 6 months or something, and like Destiny, they come out with expansions every 9 months or whatever. But also Destiny is free. Like the base game is free to play.
Freemium is the way to go. So I'm kind of curious to see. Maybe they just want to try it out and see if they can just maybe catch some people with it. But I don't know how crazy the numbers are going to be when it comes to extra money from this. It might not last long.
Yeah, I'm not doing it. I don't play GTA enough anyways. I haven't played GTA in years. So
I played online one time when the game first came out like 27 years ago, and I haven't done it since. So good luck to
I just wish Rockstar would put all that money towards making their servers faster.
True.
Because logging into GTA Online is like torture.
Oh yeah, it takes 12 years. It's going to usually crash at least once. It's
like, come on, guys. Come on. What are you doing?
Interesting. Yeah.
If that's ever anyone else has to say about it, that's all the news for this week. We did it. We got through the news again. Shall we move on to our main topic, guys?
Oh yeah,
we shall.
Which here we are. We're trapped in another fortress. This fortress, what can I say? It's very anime. It's very, very anime.
Quite graphic.
It's quite graphic. There's a lot of big naked people walking around. Sans genitals, though. Because let's just get into it. We're in the fortress of
Attack on Titan. What is it? Being with the First of all, the intros to this fucking anime go so hard for no reason.
So hard.
I love every single one of them.
I love the intro.
I will say, this is a minor spoiler, so skip ahead if you want. I was gravely upset when they switched intros halfway through season 1. I was great. I was like, what the fuck is this nonsense?
Because the first one's so good.
This?
Oh, the first one's like the best.
Because that's the only one I've ever heard ever. So I just assumed it went forever. I don't know if it's going to come back. No spoilers. But I was like, what is this, like a one-off? And then it didn't. And it went on to the whole fucking first season. I was like, this is bullshit.
Second season has a pretty cool intro too.
The first two are definitely my favorite. Like that. Like I think the second was like the anthem of the country or something. Is so epic. Like you get here, you're like ready to go through a wall. The first one's just the best anime song ever. But yeah, after that they start going downhill. I think I haven't liked any of the ones in the later season. They're like just death metal playing. But
the most recent season I think is fucking dope. The death metal one is so sick.
I'm like, I was alarmed when I first heard it. I was like,
I headbanged to that shit.
Hell?
Like, so cool.
It's like,
so yeah, listeners, we're doing something. We were going to do something a little weird. We were debating talking about Attack on Titan. We knew we wanted to do it. And so I will say, because I'm dedicated to this podcast, I watched all 25 episodes of season 1 in like 2 days.
Holy shit.
Just to get to this recording. And because we think it'd be fun, because both of you guys have seen pretty much everything up to date at this point. It's not done, but you have almost all caught up.
Yeah.
Whereas I've only seen this first season, so we thought it'd be fun to, as the whole show, the series is wrapping up, go back and you guys can talk to me about how I'm feeling about this series.
Yeah.
Based off of these first impressions. I just happened to go through the whole season. I wasn't planning on it, and I just happened to do it.
Yeah. I'm excited for you as a sweet, sweet summer child coming in, just not knowing the harsh realities of winter. That is the things that you see in Attack on Titan that have really just, a lot of them you can't unsee, you know? Like my girlfriend's little brother, he's like 11, and he told me he was watching Attack on Titan. I was like,
Oh
this
no!
stuff messed me up
Right.
when I was like 22, starting watching this, and I'm like, bro, you're 11, my friend. But yeah,
Yeah, you should not be watching this.
It's
It's
a
not
pretty-
exactly for children.
it's an experience. It's an experience on a lot of levels.
So
It's a different thing.
This show is currently considered it's definitely considered one of the best new age anime to come out in our time.
Mhm.
Also like best manga to come out around our time as well. But it's based on how it potentially could end. We'll say whether or not it might be an instant classic for anime fans all
boy.
around the
Mhm.
place.
That's big. That's
Yeah,
big.
that's
It's
people
definitely-
love this show.
Yeah, and it's definitely had like the cultural reach. I think that few animes get. Like, as I'm like a kind of casual anime watcher, so I've seen like Demon Slayer. I've seen some other ones like Yu Yu Hakusho. Okay, saw that.
That's exactly what I put on par with like the 90s anime that we kind of know from watching Toonami, how a lot of people got into anime as kids,
Mhm.
like the Dragon Ball Z, the Yu Yu
Mhm.
Hakusho, the
Yeah.
Inuyasha, Death
Right.
Note, stuff like that. I think it's very much encapsulating itself in that kind of realm of like, this
Right.
is the kind of show, like, I mean, I had my ex watching it. Like, she doesn't watch
Mhm.
anime, but she
Mhm.
loved this show just because it was just so interesting and the story was so compelling.
Right.
Right.
Brian literally has a poster of it behind
Yes,
him
I'm opposed
right
to
now.
I love this show. I want to learn one of the intros on piano because I love this show so much.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
I feel like it had a wide reach. Like there was a lot of people that don't watch anime that watch Attack on
Yeah.
Titan.
I feel like I probably fit in that category because I will say like I was thinking back, I was like, is this my first anime? Because like obviously like Avatar and Korra don't count because they're
Right.
American made,
Mhm.
and so I was thinking I was like this minus I guess technically Star Wars, the new one that came out. What was it called? Origins? Is that what
Yeah.
it was? Called?
No.
Visions,
I can't remember what it's
right?
called.
Visions. There you go.
Visions, yeah.
Technically that I guess would say it is an anime. And so I was like, oh, maybe not. But like as far as like my first like big anime, I'm gonna watch the whole thing through and through. I think this is it.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, I'm a weeb now, guys.
Ooh,
Well,
woo.
you're not a weeb until you start
Senpai.
like, buying samurai swords that you're not going to use, and like, I don't know. Just you got to deck out your place a little bit with.
I need to make my hair stick up in a cool
Mhm.
way.
Yeah. Where's
Yeah.
your waifu? Ooh, woo. Please don't go down that road. I'd be very disappointed. But no, this is definitely one of those shows that I feel like gives me the same feeling as Breaking Bad did, where it's like, I know a lot of people, it's kind of controversial, but it's like, it's that first episode that's like, you're just like, what the fuck? And you just have to keep watching. And it just kind of gave me that. And I wish
Yeah.
I'd experienced that again. Like I envy you for being able to go through the first like couple of seasons fresh. Because I would love to do that again.
Yeah.
Just because I remember the first time
Exactly.
I watched that first episode and I just had my hands on my head the entire time. Just like, what
Oh
the
my god!
fuck
Yeah,
is happening?
it's very like, and kind of coming out along the same times as like Game of Thrones. Like so many like shock things, right? Like so many
Yeah.
like shocking
Right.
moments of like shocking scenes. Like it kind of goes hand in hand, like similar kind of effect of like, oh my god,
Yeah.
I can't believe that just happened. So Attack on Titan definitely has plenty of moments like that.
Yeah. I guess right before we get into spoilers, I will say, having watched the whole first season, I am excited to watch season 2 and continue to go on this journey.
Mhm.
I'm also excited to hear how my I guess my view of the characters, how I like some, how I don't like some, compared to where you guys are. And listeners, we will not spoil anything past season 1. If we do by accident, it'll be in the time codes or it'll be cut out. But yeah, we're gonna stick to season 1. And should we just get into spoilers now?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do
Let's
it.
do it.
All right, so spoilers from this point on. All right, so I will just say, I did have a little prior knowledge before going into this, just based off knowing you guys, obviously, that
Mhm.
it's humans versus big naked people.
Okay.
That's basically the only thing I knew about.
Yeah,
it.
I'm gonna give you a little synopsis as of Attack on Titan's Wikipedia page. I can give you a little.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Attack on Titan is a Japanese dark fantasy and post-apocalyptic anime TV series adapted from the manga of the same name. It is set in a world where humanity lives inside cities surrounded by enormous walls due to the Titans, gigantic humanoid beings with no penises or vaginas. There's no bussy in this fucking show for some reason.
I was very disappointed by that, I will say.
Imagine if just a dude chasing you around with a
I
huge
wanted
ass
dong
dick.
and vag thrown everywhere, man. I don't care.
The story follows the adventures of Aaron Yeager and his friends Mikasa, Ackerman, and Armin Arlette. I never knew Armin's last name until just now, so that's fun. Whose lives change forever after Colossal Titan breaches the wall to their hometown. Vying revenge to reclaim the world of the Titans, Aaron and his friends join the Scout Regiment, an elite group of soldiers who fight Titans. That is only the beginning of the show.
I would imagine so. I'm glad that it didn't go any deeper.
Because so much fucking happens in this show.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I mean, that first episode. So since I knew that, I think that might be why it wasn't as shocking to me, because I knew the premise. Like, and I knew that these fuckers get eaten, and like they fight them. I guess like what I will say right off the bat, for me personally, I wasn't into it for the first couple episodes. Like, I was into it, but I expected more. I guess I expected more gruesomeness based off of mostly Devin's reaction, saying how like horrible the opening is and shit.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess in a sense, like,
we're talking about spoilers. The main character gets eaten the first fucking episode.
No, that's not until happened to like episode 4.
Is it episode 4? I think it's the first episode.
Like when they in
the
Trost,
first episode,
it's not till
his
Trost.
mom gets eaten.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, his mom.
Oops.
His mom gets eaten, which I will say, I wrote it down, and if I was correct, we watch his mom die 6 times in the first season. There is a flashback. Wait, let me make sure. Yeah, 6 times we have to watch her die. I'm like, again? Jesus Christ. That was the one that got me in the first episode. I was like, we're literally just gonna watch her just get chomped right now. Oh my, what the fuck is happening? What the fuck? But yeah, so that's what it's very spaced out. So I can see how, because it's been a while for you guys, that it's not as fresh. But yeah, like the first couple episodes, I wasn't as hooked. It wasn't until more shit started to happen. Also, I will say this. Yeah, mostly because it's gonna be funny. I fucking hate Aaron. I fucking hate Aaron.
So you are new to anime, so I appreciate that you have this take, because it's a very thing. It's an anime main character syndrome. It's just one of those things where in every single thing you'll ever watch, you'll probably always find the main character of anime to be annoying as fuck. That's just the trope that they do. And shown in anime, where character either has to be really annoying, a big crybaby, or dumb as fuck. He's
all of those things.
That's your only choices.
He's every single one of those
that's your only choices for anime main character. You gotta be Goku, where you're the dumbest fucking rock on earth. You gotta be Aaron, where you're always fucking crying. Or you gotta be fucking, what's the dude from My Hero Academia, where he's just always like, I'm just gonna try my best. And it's like, oh, fucking God, bro. Like, why are you?
Yeah.
Why are you this way?
I wrote down so many times where like, this show should be about Mikasa. Like a million times. This show should just be about her. I guess we'll go spoilers. That is one thing that changed for me, is I had no idea that Aaron was the Titan.
Oh yeah.
Like when that happened, I was like, what the fuck?
Aaron had no idea he was the Titan for the longest.
Yeah. So that moment, because like I knew that there was a good Titan at one point that they like fights alongside them. I did not think it would be introduced that early in the show. It's introduced probably like in episode 6 or 5 or some shit. I was like, oh damn, that was quick. And then I was like, okay, this is cool. And then the reveal that he's chilling in his neck and it's him. I was like, what is happening in this show?
I love it, because this man is racist as fuck. He hates Titans. Every single time he has a chance to get a monologue, he's like, I just wanna kill them all. I just kill them all. It's like, come on, man. Like,
so I want to say this show should be about Mikasa and Aaron in Titan form, so I don't have to hear Aaron talk ever again.
Yeah,
that's all I want.
So you liking Mikasa is very you liking Vegeta kind of situation, where it's like you like the more quiet kind of like badass,
I like someone who's capable of themselves, because it's like especially established in the first episodes. Aaron he sucks. He's bad, and no one is afraid of him. There's literally a thing, a part in I think the first or second episode, where these bullies are picking on Armin, and he's like, "What are they doing?" And he goes after, and he's like running at them, and they're like, "Oh, what is this bitch gonna do? Look at this loser!" And then they look past him, and Mikasa's booking it right behind him, like she's his bodyguard, and they're like, "Oh fuck, we gotta go. She's coming. We gotta go."
She's a ride or die.
Why is she not the main character?
She really should be, yeah.
So I thought that was hilarious. Obviously, I like Aaron a little more by the end of it. He's a lot less whiny. He's a little more capable of himself. But man, I think that's why I was less on board for the first 5 episodes. 'Cause I was like, God, I hope he changed. Obviously, I thought he would change, but I was just like, God, all he does is
This man,
bitch and moan this
yeah.
whole time.
He'd just be walking around with rage the whole, like, he just
Oh,
lives
he's
his whole
so
life like
angsty.
Hulk mode. Just if he had like the Dr. Banner thing, he would always be green. He would never have the energy to go back down because he's angry as hell the whole time.
Oh my
He
God,
is the epitome of chip on his shoulder for sure. And yeah,
Oh,
I would tell you
absolutely.
that if you watch any anime outside of this, if this ever introduced you to more anime, you're probably going
Right.
to find the same issue with most things you watch. I mean, I'm not even kidding. The like Demon Slayer, it's kind of the same way. Like, I don't like the main character of
Right.
Demon Slayer. I don't like the main character of Jujutsu Kaisen. It's just one of those things. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I eventually got over it, but I just thought it was so funny how
Oh.
like there's a completely capable character that should be the lead
Right.
character,
Mhm.
but they're not.
I will say, not to spoil anything, this show has very good character growth.
Oh yeah,
I would
And
imagine.
that
Yeah,
includes
yeah.
the protagonist.
definitely.
And they've already done that in this first
Right.
season. I would say like they've grown a lot. Mostly Aaron. He's less of a baby back bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, so once he gets to see some shit, he'll finally start to calm the fuck down. But he's just green and annoying right now.
Yeah, but it does a really. I think it does a really good job of like the dread, right? Like the first episode, I was like so scared of the Titans, like for that whole town. Like, not only do they, because you think like maybe you thought maybe they'd bust through one wall, and that would kind of be
Right.
it, and then that like they'd fight, there. But no, they bust through 2 walls, and like they introduce 2 Titans to you immediately.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
they seem a little bit different, right? They're like, okay, these guys are smarter, right? Like they kind of know what they're doing, or maybe not the colossal one, but the armored one. You definitely know like that seems like
They
kinda
have
smart.
intelligence. I mean, they established that the colossal one has intelligence later on when it appears the second time.
Right, right.
Aaron's like, what the fuck?
Right.
It can understand things. What?
And that's
Yeah.
what's kind of interesting because everyone always knew the Titans exist in this world, but they were always like, I'm going to eat you. And it's like, okay, whatever. This is
It's
pretty
because they
scary.
all have these weird Joker smiles, and it's
Right.
the most horrific thing I've ever seen.
That's kind of one of the worst things about this, right? Is like if you get eaten by like some dumb ass looking beings.
They always got their arms fucking.
Yeah, like and
Oh, some of the runs in this are comical, I will admit. My goodness. The animation is on point,
Oh, yeah.
considering that I'm assuming those are purposeful. It's, oh my God, wow.
no, it's beautiful.
But yeah, I guess that was one thing that surprised me. I was like, did not think we would see the big guy from the first shot in the show. The big guy is just here.
And that's what's
I
so
was like,
funny.
what?
And I kind of love that like subverting expectation thing, especially when he's like, yeah, we're gonna do the thing and we're gonna be scouts. And he just goes,
Right.
shoosh. And then this big guy
Right,
shows up and he's
right.
like,
Isn't that exactly how that moment happens? Like Aaron's like standing on the wall. He's like, yeah, we're going to take back my hometown. And then the colossal Titan just appears right in front of him. And to Aaron's credit, I think he goes straight at his neck. He's just instantly
He
like
does.
in the air. And like it just uses the steam to like steam him away. But oh my God.
good
like,
for him because I would have shat my
Yeah.
pants at least 3 times during that situation.
I did that. That was the thing that as I was like watching it, the second time the colossal shows up, it's just there, and then like Aaron makes the point where it's like it's just like it's gone. It's like teleported, and obviously like I kind of have an idea of how that happened. Now by the end of the season, we're getting to even more spoilers. There are more people like Aaron apparently in this world,
mhm.
a la Annie, who we'll talk about. Because she's a Titan as well, just
Mhm.
like Aaron. And so in my head, I'm like, okay, I feel better now. Because when he first just pops up, I was like, how did no one hear him? How did no one see him? What the fuck
This
how
man
is
is
that possible?
354 feet tall.
I'm
How does he
like-
sneak up on
It seems like
somebody?
such a cheat code.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, this is fucking dumb.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the season, by the end of it, I was like, oh,
Someone-
okay,
Right. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to piece this together a
right,
bit.
right. Yeah, it just seems so unfair that the colossal Titan just pops up whenever he needs to like fuck things up. But yeah.
I guess like, yeah, it's like, I don't know for a fact that is the thing, but I'm assuming considering all of the other ones that have shown intelligence are because there are people inside them.
Mhm.
So I would imagine there is someone inside the Colossus, and the mystery for me now is finding out who that
is it?
Who's-
So I'm excited. That is one thing that is the whole point. I think that for me, I was the most surprised by in the show was I did not see the people being Titans was a thing in this.
Right.
Mm.
That was 100%. I was like,
Mhm.
oh, this is going a completely different direction than I thought. And I was slightly disappointed only in the sense that I kind of like the idea that there is a random Titan that is on their side. I kind of like that as a concept, and the fact that it's Aaron, I was like, oh. But obviously, I've grown to like it more now because it's cool. But I just, yeah.
Would you
I
prefer
don't
it be Armin?
yeah.
Speaking of characters we hate, would you prefer it be Armin?
Hey, I don't. You know what? I don't hate Armin. I will say.
Armin,
I don't know.
Aaron,
I don't hate Armin because he's tactically the smartest one out of all of them.
Aaron's unfortunately got very loyal friends despite being kind of a piece of shit.
And he's also grown on me. Like there's like in the later seasons, he'll just like typical things that like regular anime characters would just be like, I'm gonna stay mad about this. Armin's like, oh, well, if you think about it, like, this is actually a pretty like here's a logical explanation for this,
he's very
situation.
calculated, and I like he's even getting more confidence as this first season went on.
So I'm glad.
Whereas first he was frozen and afraid of fucking everything. He literally watched Aaron die in front of him while Aaron's holding this dude's mouth open like a toothpick.
What
and when that happened, I was like,
that was the thing.
Shit.
Because I had seen like the ad spots for this show, and I see like Aaron flying around and shit, and then instantly that man's arm fucking flies off as he gets eaten. I'm like,
oh my god, yeah, like he's the main character. They killed the main character in like that episode. And obviously they brought him pretty much right back. But still, like, yeah, for the listeners, like the story starts as like the Titans get in, they kill Aaron's mom, they kill his whole town, and he escapes. He trains. He's like, yeah, like does the typical anime training thing, like I'm gonna work on my form and I'm gonna be the very best. And he gets to he gets to graduate from the academy, and then him and his fellow friends like they graduate and they're like, all right, we're gonna go fight the Titans, and they get fucking wrecked in the first battle.
Man.
They just get it. That was the most demoralizing montage.
That one upset me. I will say it was like so that whole squad, Aaron's whole squad gets fucked.
Just wrecked.
I was like, oh,
the most morbid, like awful montage ever of them just getting eaten in different ways, and you're like, oh Jesus, like this is horrible. Like,
yeah.
And it's kind of tough. Like, I think the whole show does a pretty good job of like that dread, because the Titans are tough to fight. Like, you can only cannons don't really work on them great unless you aim them. Like, you got to hit them through the neck, because the only way to kill them is through the back of the neck, like a slice.
Which I had to get used to that idea that you can literally blow their heads off and they'll survive and grow their head back. But if you just hit them in the back of the neck, they'll die. I was like, okay, I'll buy into that.
It's Achilles'
That's
heel,
fine.
but from a different place. So I can appreciate it a little bit.
Right.
But the fact that their whole head can go.
Yeah. It made this like fighting style that they try make some kind of sense. Like, the best way we have to fight these things is to fly around like fucking Spider-Man and like with some swords and like just get the perfect like zip tie to go behind them and like hit them in the back of the head.
It's either that or you gotta like Star Wars them and trip them up their legs and then hit them when they're down.
Yeah, no, I mean, let's talk a little bit about that. I think that's another thing that makes this show so interesting, especially when it comes from an animation standpoint, is the way this, like, a lot of this is a shonen anime, and if you guys don't know what that means, a fight anime. It's an anime that's mostly about fighting. Yeah, there's an enriching story, things about that. But at the end of the day, it's about the fight scenes. And this one is very interesting in its take on fighting because it's not super gun heavy. It gets a little bit heavier towards the later season, spoiler a little bit. But it's about sword combat. But they treat it very differently because, of course, these are stories high, like, enemies that they're fighting against. So they use this thing called ODM gear, where they're using like air to fly around, and then they're using these swords to actually chop these enemies up. And that's how they're actually fighting the enemies. Yeah. And that makes them, for someone like the coolest. And I'm trying to think of where they could come from with this, because I'm thinking of like other like mech kind of anime and stuff like that, like Gundam Wing kind of stuff. And have they done anything like that? I don't think so.
I mean, I will say that Korra introduced a similar like steel whip cage mech type of style into it, which I was like, they were probably very much inspired by that. I could imagine so. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, it reminds me of kind of like Titanfall a little bit, where it's like the Titan outside of the Titan combat in Titanfall 2 especially is super cool because you can run across walls and push and shove and jetpack a little bit and stuff like that. And it gave me that kind of feel where it's like everything's very fast movement. And I think that's that's the only thing that can combat against these kind of things, because they're slow and bulky and stuff like that. If I'm just on a horse, I'm not going to do shit. Like, oh, look at me, I'm on a horse. And then I get stepped on. Like, okay, fine. Yeah. I don't know. I just thought it was super interesting. The anime in the show is phenomenal in the first seasons, especially.
Right. It's very unique. And I think the dramatic effect of like having the main characters like being in midair a lot of the time, like kind of flying around, like made for some interesting situations, like where you'd have to like you can get this one hit basically and like take out, something like, I don't know. I think that always really made Attack on Titan kind of a richer
I think
experience.
my favorite when it comes to them flying in the air is when the female Titan spins them around like a yo-yo and they're dead. They're fucking dead. The first time she does it, she's just casually whipping this dude around like a fucking yo-yo. I
Oh,
was like,
I
oh
remember
my
that. Yeah.
god.
Oh my God.
Holy fucking shit.
Yeah. And honestly, that's like one thing I want to touch on is like, it sucks to be a scout, dude. Like I'd be, how like, I think John was trying to be in the military police or something like that. It's like, yeah, I mean, dude, I'm with you, man. The scouts just have a fucking death wish. Like, not only do they,
Basically.
like, I think fighting regular Titans, they were getting wrecked. Like the new recruits were getting wrecked. Like the only time that you have a good moment is like the Levi reveal, where that's probably my favorite moment of season 1, where like Captain Levi, you're basically
That
used
was
to
cool.
everybody getting just absolutely wrecked by these Titans. You're like maybe lucky if we get a 1-to-1, like 1 Titan kill to 1 loss.
Right.
And then you have Captain Levi come in with his squad and they're just like toying with these Titans. I was like, all right, that's
Yeah.
badass. But that's like one guy. Like the rest of these fuckers are like, and then when they go after, the female Titan, it's like, dude, they were just dropping like flies. Like it's like, what is
Well, that's the thing is like in that moment, they are kicking her ass. They pin her down and they completely take her out. And I was like, these people are dope. And then 2 seconds later, they're all fucking dead. Every single one of them is dead. I was like, oh, well, that lasted about 4 seconds. Wow, holy shit.
I never thought about the Star Wars method. They should have just used that the whole time. Like they had these cables. They should have just tripped her up the whole time. I don't know why they didn't try
Trim
that.
up. But yeah, I did like that reveal of Captain Levi right after. I guess one of the biggest moments of season 1 was they harness Aaron's power and he puts the boulder in the gate to plug basically a big plug up, like a big plunger. He just like shoves it in there, which I thought that was a nice moment of them all kind of coming together where he's down and he's out and he's not waking up as the Titan. And they're all just defending him from all these other Titans that are basically going to go eat him because that's what they do.
New side quest unlocked to protect Aaron.
Yeah, I did like that moment. I really enjoyed that. And then obviously he has to anime up. That is one thing I will say of anime that I love, but it makes me laugh every time. Is just it's mostly, I guess, it's the style of the even of the dubbing. Which I guess we'll say, are you guys subs or dubs for this?
So episodes come out first in sub. So I've become a sub watcher, but I usually watch both. I'll watch sub and then I'll watch dub when it comes out as well.
Oh, interesting.
Gotcha.
I think I've done sub for all these.
Yeah, I think I first watched the first season dubbed, and then after that, I think that's when the second season started coming out. It started coming out subbed first, and that's when I just started watching sub. I don't love the voice actors for dub for this show particularly. Aaron more so, especially. Armin's pretty fucking annoying in dub.
No, that's so interesting. I do wonder if that's maybe a reason why I hated Aaron so much more.
Yes, he sounds much more like a crybaby in English than he does in Japanese.
That's so
not that he's not a crybaby, but he's a little bit worse. Just because the voice actor that does it definitely plays into that, like,
right.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think for animes, this is definitely a good anime to have that passion of like I feel like you got to hear it in Japanese to the people screaming in Japanese. I feel like you got to.
There's some characters that just sell it so well in Japanese that makes it like it's almost I got upset that people don't get to hear them. Me and Devin were talking about it off air. Aaron's dad specifically, his voice actor is very good. I love listening to him a whole lot. And it's people like that. It's like you just can't appreciate it the same. Like, not to say that the English voice actor is bad by any means, but it's just some of those people just really sell it.
No, because I did because I had the option when I was first about to start, and I was thinking, I was like, I don't know which I should go because I would normally have done subs, but then I was like, didn't people mostly watch like Dragon Ball Z dubbed for the most part? Like that's how those people are famous. So I was like, all right, I guess I'll go dub because I just kind of assume people would do that.
Yeah, we have Powerhouse dub, Funimation dubbers for Dragon Ball Z and stuff like that. So that's slightly unfair when it comes to that kind of stuff. But, you know,
that's why I was like, I guess I'll do it.
How does Mikasa say Aaron in English? Because I like how she says it in the sub version. She's like, Aaron, all the time. Aaron.
Yeah, they just say Aaron.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of like that's one of the memes of this show is people always like, Eren Yeager. That's how everyone says it whenever they say it in Japanese. especially Levi. Levi
Yeah.
is a very voice like this. Like,
Oh,
and
so
then
they
we,
say their names
yeah.
in English,
Mhm.
even in the Japanese
Yeah,
dialect.
like his
I think
name
they're
is
just
Aaron.
I think they're just their names are their
Oh,
names,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
Like, and Jaeger
Right.
Jaeger means hunter in German, doesn't it? Like that's kind of stylistically an interesting thing about Attack on Titan. It's very like, Germanic kind of like European
we can talk about that. What the show is
style.
very obviously based on, kind of a la Hideo Kojima when it comes to liking, being very interested in something that's not exactly your culture.
Okay.
Oh,
Where it's like this show is probably based pretty hard on the World War II, Hitler, Judaism, Germanic issue that we kind of had
Yeah,
back in
I
the
mean,
40s.
they're definitely like a fascist government, right? But like you have
yeah.
people are okay with it because it's like you're facing this existential threat, and so the government has pretty much unilateral power over everybody, right? So, and it's definitely fascist.
Right.
I mean, they're like,
I mean, just the structure of the city seemed like that was one thing I noticed, that it seems very class based.
Yes.
Just on the whole circular
There's very
structure
much a
of the
caste
city.
system, and if you're on the outside border, you're fucked. You're the first one to
Right.
die.
there's like some religious kind of like, or there's like some
Well, there's
classism.
definitely cult people.
Right. They touch
Yeah.
on that a little bit towards the end of season 1, I think, where like there's like that church that maybe Annie
Yeah,
destroys.
they obliterate it. It's amazing. It's
Right.
hilarious.
So I kind of like that. That's
Good.
like the most they got into like religious themes of like, but yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
I guess, I did notice that because they do make a point, which I thought was a little weird, because they make it a point that Mikasa, they use the word Oriental, which we're not supposed to use anymore, but they do point out that I'm like that she's the last. Is she the last Asian person on the planet? Like what?
So this is where
Yeah.
anime gets
So it's
weird, because it's like, what
interesting.
do they consider their characters in Japanese anime? Some people say that they like
Right.
to consider the characters white. Some people just never really talk into it. This one goes into it a little bit more than other anime that I've seen, where it's like there are characters of other cultures in this anime, and she's one of them. And it's like, so you saying everyone else is white,
Everyone else is what?
but
Yeah,
speaks
right.
Japanese? Like, I don't. What's going on here?
I found that very interesting for them to like go out of their way to point that out.
Yeah.
right.
I thought that was very interesting.
In season 4, they introduce a black character, and
Yeah,
the
there's a black dude.
characters straight up ask him
That's cool.
about like they just straight up ask him the most ignorant questions you could. But it's like, I mean,
oh boy.
they've never seen it before,
Right.
right? So
Yeah, so I guess like you were saying, it is interesting that they did that,
yeah,
considering like that was people's complaints about like Avatar's movie version where they were all just a bunch of white people.
Right.
And so I do think that we're interesting. Like if this were to become, and I think it already has become, like there is a movie version of this. I think
Yeah.
I think it's a Japanese.
I don't
movie version,
believe it
something
was
like
good. I think people critically hate it.
that. Yeah, but I do wonder, were all of the characters Asian actors?
Right.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's
Yeah,
interesting
good
to.
I think they were
considering
in that
that's
movie,
yeah.
actually.
Right.
But I don't know if that's what they want the characters to be. And I know that's been an issue, because I do know that there's a lot of whitewashing in Japan, where a lot of people want to be white adjacent. I mean, that's just a culture issue. Like, Eurocentric views kind of span everywhere. But some people have definitely explicitly said, like, yeah, no, our characters are white. They're white people, even though this is Japanese anime. They're white people.
It's very interesting, though.
So I don't know. Yeah, I forgot all about that. That's an interesting thing that I kind of
because
didn't
like
consider.
they make it a point, because like it goes into her origin where basically they kill these random fuckers, come into her home, kill her father, kill her mother. But they didn't. They did it by accident, because basically they were gonna seem like sex traffic her mom and her, and because they were Asian, because they were a unique, exotic culture to the rest of these people who I'm assuming, I guess, are white, now that we've talked about it. So I thought that was very interesting.
mm-hmm.
No, even the Japanese people are over here like, man, these white people fucking up everything.
But so I found all that very interesting. But back to talking about the like the whole structure of the city. I wrote it down that basically that whole first episode, that whole city's basically like a giant golden corral. It's just a big buffet. That's how I imagined it for the Titans.
Damn, and all the people in what's the first ring? All the people in the first ring are basically just like the carbs and shit. The stuff that's not very expensive.
Yeah.
They have a ton of it. It's like the mac and cheese, and the potatoes, and
Yeah,
stuff.
the mashed potatoes.
And then the people closest to the church are like the steak that you have to wait 20 minutes before you can even
Oh
get.
Jesus!
Yeah. That was I did find that interesting. Not knowing anything about it, I like how the whole premise is the city is so big that you can still live in it while the Titans are roaming around it. Like I thought that was very because when they first walk in, I was like, it's over.
Right.
What? How is the story? The city is fucked. How can they continue this?
Mm-hmm.
So I thought just the whole structure of the city and how there's walls and how it's so big that like you can kind of dash in and out with the Titans around you still and kind of
No, that's
try
cool,
to sneak
man.
through type of thing.
Walt
Yeah.
Mari is
I thought
still
that was
up.
very cool.
Shigashina might be
Yeah.
fucked, but Walt Mari is still fine.
Why don't they have genitals? I don't want to hear them. No spoilers. I doubt they get into it, but I was like,
I don't think there's
so-
spoilers about that one. I think it's be
Yeah.
really weird to animate penis.
I don't know.
I thought you said why don't they have generals? I was like,
Oh no, they do have generals.
They do
And
have
Pixis
generals.
is one. General Pixis probably does have genitals, but Aaron does
Yeah.
not.
yeah.
And that's the thing.
Yeah, that's true. Wait, does that mean does Aaron have a penis as a human?
Aaron ain't got no dick.
Yeah, good question.
He should have known this whole time.
I guess I will find out in subsequent seasons that because they're slightly revealed a bit that his father experimented on him and
Mhm.
he's just wiped his memory and he doesn't remember.
right.
So he is a human or is he something special? I don't
That's
know.
a big thing. Is it's like, why do these people exist? Why do Titans exist? Why are they walking around? Why do they want to eat us? What is their
Right.
purpose? Who are they? Why is Aaron able to be a human but also able to be one? And that's like the most interesting part about this show is like, what the fuck are these things?
Right.
Where do they come
Yeah.
from? Why do they exist?
Like the mystery.
I don't like him. I can say that.
It's one of
Yeah.
those cool
Um,
allegories that I think is really interesting that I like when stuff like this does this. It's kind of akin to like Detroit Become Human, but in a little bit of a better way where it's like, yeah, we accept that these things have always existed, but no one really knows why. And then getting into that like lore
Right.
of why they do exist is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I do. I do really appreciate the mystery. I remember like the last couple episodes of basically the last 2 episodes. You get a little bit of flashbacks about Annie's backstory,
Mhm.
and I'm like, I want to know more.
Yes.
Why is she this way? What the fuck is going on?
I will say
And-
the mystery is the strongest part about this show. Is the first 2
Yeah.
seasons are just so like I just want to fuck it. What is this shit?
Yeah.
Man? Everyone's alluding to so many things. You're just like, what is going on, dude?
I just
Mhm.
want him to get to his house so he can use that damn key, get to the basement, and figure out what the fuck is going on. That's all I want.
No, it's good.
That is one thing. Yeah, like the whole mystery. I just want him to get to that basement and figure this shit out. That's all I want. I was hoping
Right.
we'd get to it at the end of the season, and
No.
we didn't.
Oh
so
no.
I'll-
Oh no. Not
I,
even close. Not even close. You don't get to find that
Yeah.
out for a long time. There's a lot between there.
I did really like the whole Annie mystery, and just basically the female Titan thing.
Mhm.
Mostly just because I like the idea that there is a spy among them who
Mhm.
could just change back into a human at will, and that's the reason why the Colossus and the Armor Titan just stopped after they did it. Because in my head, when that Armor Titan goes through that wall, first of all, there's like a guard bitching that to shut the gate because the Armor Titan's coming. I'm like, he's gonna go through that gate whether or not that wall is down. I don't shut the fuck up. Who cares?
But you got to
You're
make an
fucked
attempt.
anyways.
An attempt has to be made.
Shut. He bulldozed through that no matter what.
You still
Second
lock
of all,
your door, even if a fucking bear can rail through it. Like it.
that's the best. But yeah, and then secondly, that helped me feel better about how the reasoning behind like why they just randomly stopped attacking. Because like when the Colossus first shows up, I'm like, they could just take this whole city. Why
Right.
did they stop?
Right.
What's going on? And so I did like that eventually coming. I was like, okay, I feel a little better now.
Mhm.
How do you feel about the nomenclature of the Titans? You have the Armor Titan because he has armor. You have the Colossal Titan because he's really big. You have the Female Titan because she has a vagina.
Right. To me, I took it's fine. It's mostly because it's easy to understand.
Right.
I don't know what else you're gonna give them names.
It
That's
felt like a
Phil.
Japan
The Phil
thing.
the Titan.
I don't know. I mean,
yeah.
maybe give them some kind of names based on some kind of like lore or maybe some kind of
Like
like
lore.
religious thing or something like
I-
that.
I mean, they should have called him Colossus. I guess for one thing, that would be cool. But Colossal Titan. I don't know.
They're very on the nose with
I
their
don't know.
names.
Yes,
God.
very
You'll
much.
come to find.
Later on, it's
Yeah,
even funnier. Like,
Yeah, it gets. I wish I could say it gets better, but
does not get better.
Oh God.
Does not get better. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, like, speaking of the Titans, the Abnormals is another class that they just
Mhm.
identify with, where they're the ones that are just, I guess, more aggressive and also just weirder.
they're a little bit
Yeah.
hungrier. I want to eat
Yeah.
a little
Right.
bit more. I haven't got quite a taste for the steak, so let me go ahead and get a couple bites. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to get eaten by like if I got eaten by like one of the small ones or like one of those goofy fat ones, I'd be
It'd be
kind of
pretty
mad.
embarrassing.
I'd be so like, if I don't get
Yeah.
eaten by an Aaron, someone that's muscular and ripped as shit. No, man. I'd rather kill myself, man. Fuck this.
Oh, I forgot about this. When Aaron first showed up, and this is what because I you know what? I have a better name for Aaron's Titan. Like much like we were complaining about the names of these Titans.
Bitch Titan.
When Aaron first showed up, for one thing, he's got elf ears. I don't know why,
True,
but
true.
maybe they'll explain that.
Legless
Second
Titan.
of all, he shows up. I'm like, it's Jared Leto. Yo, Jared Leto showed up. He's saving the day. What the fuck?
Don't call him Jared Leto, no. That
So
means the show's
now
going to suck.
he's the Jared Leto
To method
Titan.
act for this role, I had to grow 500 feet. It was really hard, but I ate a lot of
I ate
protein.
8 of my friends. They're all dead.
I ate all my
Just for this
friends
show to get a
to
3
get
out of
into
10.
method acting for this role.
So yeah, he is absolutely the Jared. All my notes are yo, Jared Leto's kicking this chick's ass. What the hell? He is the Jared Leto Titan. I thought it was hilarious. But
Oh my god.
yeah, I'm also Aaron. He's definitely got hepatitis from swimming in the bowels of that
Oh,
first
yes,
Titan that eats him.
absolutely.
He's just swimming in
Dude,
blood. He's infected.
That was one
Put
of the
him
most
down.
fucked up things I think of Attack on Titan. That I remember, like when I think about Attack on Titan, how fucked up it is. Like when there's like that other scout that's like drowning in the
Stomach acid.
in the stomach. It's like, good God, like why do I don't, this isn't something
Yeah.
I ever wanted my brain to fathom, dude. Like just
Whenever
fucked
anyone
up.
says anime is for children because it's cartoons, I recommend them shows like this because what the fuck? This show is so
Oh,
grotesque
God.
sometimes, and I'm just like, it gets to the point where it doesn't bother you anymore, which is a little scary.
It
But-
says something else about us. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's like,
Oof.
yeah, like this is one of those
Yeah,
things
that-
that just kind of happen where you'll see some really fucked up things happen in the show, and they'll show the whole thing. They won't be like that thing where they cut away. It's like,
Yeah.
no, they
Mm-hmm.
watched this
It's
boy get
fucked up,
crunched.
man.
Yeah. There's some pretty grotesque
And like there
ones.
is, it is kind of like morbid fascination, right? Like you kind of like want to see how it happens, but you also don't. You're like in the battle.
It
of
also
Trost,
helps that it is animated.
Yes,
You know?
for
Yeah.
sure.
So there's
Yeah.
that sense of realism that is you can kind of distance yourself from. Like there's early a part in the season when fucking Annie is just on a rampage in the forest, and she just literally shoulder checks a dude into a tree, and he is
splashed.
just a blood stain on that tree bark. He is
Mhm.
just a mess. I'm like, oh my god, she's straight up Usain Bolt through these trees, man. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Annie's
Jeez.
badass. I like her character a lot.
I liked Annie a
'cause I
lot.
like how they show like her fighting style and stuff like that. And that was kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, oh shit, like she know how to box. Like it's not like that kind of stuff where it's like, oh, she's just like flailing random. Like no, homegirl got a fighting stance.
Mhm.
There's a moment in that when she first shows up, it's before they know she's Annie, where everyone is so surprised that she can jump. They're like, oh my god, it's like we've never seen a Titan jump before. She can jump?
And then she comes over here, she has a stance and stuff. She's doing backflips. And it's like, oh,
Yeah.
uh-oh.
She is kicking ass.
Mhm.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome. I kept every time, like the first time Aaron finally powers up to fight her, I was like, yes, fucking let's go. But the whole time in my head, I was like, Aaron, I don't care what you do. Fight her. Fuck her. I don't care. Do something cool in this Titan battle. I'm like, I don't know what. Just do something cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, and she's got a good arm too. Like she has a little like this like the slip foot thing where she kicks his feet from under him, and that's pretty cool.
Mhm.
She ends the fight by literally kicking his jaw off through a tree. Like just sweeps through it. I was like, holy fucking shit.
Yeah, they
Oh my
love
God.
taking off body parts in this show. That is one of
Yeah,
that's a
they
fan
really do.
favorite.
It's
for
great.
sure.
Those Titan bodies get some wear and tear every single time they clash with each other.
It's like
Oh,
Formula
man.
One,
Yeah.
NASCAR. I gotta get repaired, bro. I had 3 laps. I gotta get out of here.
Oh, I forgot. I was talking about a while ago how I love there's like the tropes within anime, especially when it comes to like the dialogue. And I don't know if you guys kind of talked about it, but comparing the subs versus the dubs. But it's, for me at least, with the dubbing, there are just some line reads that they're 100% on purpose, and it's because it's an
Mhm.
anime. But they make me laugh so hard every time. Where it's the most over dramatic shit, but it doesn't mean fucking anything.
Yes.
It'll just be like Aaron. He's just like, everyone needs to listen to me now.
Yes. So the part I know, there's one part in the camp when they first started learning to be scouts, and that's very much a trope where he's like, I need to get these people riled up. They need to know more about how to be a scout. I need to do this. And he's like thinking this all to himself as it's like a gray screen as he's sitting there in the corner like, and he's like, everyone listen. I have a monologue. Like yes, that's very much a trope. And that's supposed to be funny on purpose. Like that's just like one of those things.
Good. Because it makes me laugh every time.
Yeah, because I remember that part specifically. That I was like, this is ridiculous. Because everyone's like, oh my God, he's speaking so much truth. And he was just sitting there like, yes, I am. Because I've been thinking about this for at least 30 minutes. And it's like, all right, man, calm down. Yeah, that and the sounds, the anime sounds are very big.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Or like their eyes like wavering, like,
yeah.
Like,
it makes me really appreciate like what's his name? The dude that voiced Sora in Kingdom Hearts, because he nails that aesthetic to a T, dude.
That's what's so funny. So many people that play Kingdom Hearts don't know anime, so it probably feels so like awkward. I'm sure Final Fantasy Remake is going to be the same thing, where you're just like, why did they do that thing?
Yeah.
Why did they say that way? And it's like, no, it's an anime trope on purpose. Like,
yeah,
absolutely.
Final Fantasy VII is one big anime just like this. So,
biggest anime moment for me is like when he takes a whole episode to decide what to do. Like when Annie's chasing them through the forest, and he's like, "Do I do what I want to do and like fight her, or do I fit in line and like follow orders?" And he finally like yells and screams at the end, like, "I'm gonna follow orders!" And like they keep going, like it's like, and he's going through all these flashbacks and stuff, and I'm like, dude, just fucking pick, like, just give me the result. Like, I don't know, it was pretty funny.
He's holding his hand to his mouth because man, he can bite through his mouth like it's butter. My God, I do appreciate though that they kind of acknowledge that. With the fact that the rest of Levi's squad, they did it, and they're like, "Damn, dude, how do you do that?" And they all have like scars from their own teeth on their hand, and that's how you can trust us. That's like their way of showing that he can trust them, and that yada yada yada. I did appreciate that they acknowledged that it's not that easy to draw blood from your hand by biting into it. It takes a lot of effort.
Random aside, there's a Nick Cannon movie. It wasn't Drumline, I don't think, but it had a love story in it, and it was Nick Cannon. And one of the tropes in that movie was the fact that he was like, "Oh, I love you because your mind won't let you bite through the web of your hand. Like it'll physically stop you, so you can't do it unless you're crazy." So he was saying that he did it because he loved her so much that he was able to do it. It was some stupid shit like that, but it was like that. So maybe he turned into a Titan. I don't know. That movie came out in like 2007, I'm pretty sure. But is that kind of situation.
Nick Cannon is that black guy that's introduced later in the show that you were talking about.
God, I hope not. Because Nick Cannon, I'm pretty sure hates Jewish people.
Oh, no.
So that's the whole thing.
I did want to talk about some other minor characters real quick, just a little bit, because I want to shout out my love for Potato Girl.
Oh, Sasha, hell yeah.
She's my favorite, one of my favorites when she first popped up, mostly because she's just all about eating some food, and she's hilarious. I was like, I love this Potato Girl.
A mood. She's such a mood.
She really, she really only cared about that all the time. Like, they'd be in the middle of battle, she'd be like, yeah, they have any bread? Like...
I mean, but that was the thing, though. It was like the whole fact was like, oh, yeah, I became like this big, like, person of renown now. And like, y'all ain't gonna feed me the good shit? Give me that goddamn meat. Like,
and she's just literally munching. Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. I took some more potatoes. I'm poor in real life.
Her excuse was like, well, it was just sitting there looking like it wanted to be. And so I did it a favor and put it in my stomach.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at it.
I guess one thing I will say about some of these side characters, for me personally, like Marco, Jean is completely upset because he died. I fucking barely remembered who the fuck Marco was for the longest time, because some of these characters, they look the same.
Yes.
They all have weird like bowl cuts, and they got brown hair. Some of them are blonde hair, but I'm like, isn't it the same dude that died 10 minutes earlier? So it took a while. Especially because like I had to kind of get used to their names, and I had to keep listening out for who was who, and so sometimes I was like, I thought he already died.
Eren Yeager, Armin Bearholt.
I forgot. I'm glad you said that, because I didn't even remember Marco was a name until just now. Now kind of
he is Jean's motivation for the entire first season, and I'm like, I feel bad because I barely remember what that.
And that's funny because even John he comes across some characters that look a lot like him. That it's like, I think
they literally use him in season 1 as an Aaron lookalike.
Yes.
When they're trying to get to Anna, he's like, "Yeah, you kind of look the same. Put this wig on, and you're Aaron now."
And he was so pissed. Do I look like Aaron?
I think it becomes an issue like in later seasons too. Like he gets kind of drawn kind of generically. Sometimes you're like, wait, is that who? Oh, it's John. Like, and you
Yeah. There's like
Oh,
3
that's funny.
hairstyles in this show, and
Yeah.
he takes up one of them, unfortunately.
They're all terrible except for Mikasa,
Yeah.
and then every girl who has a ponytail.
Right.
All the other hairstyles are horrible.
That's another thing
Yeah.
too. The women get kind of rough to tell apart as well. Outside like Annie,
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because a lot of people
Yeah.
just brown-haired woman with a ponytail, and it's like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
I did write in my notes though, because there's the point where Annie as the female Titan is kicking everyone's ass, and she doesn't kill Armin. She checks under his hood to see who it is,
Mhm.
and then I just remember writing down like, oh, she didn't kill him because they got the same haircut. All right, moving on.
She just pulls his hood up and just like gives a little head nod, like, "Oh, what's up?"
Yeah.
That's what you do when you got the same hair. We got the same hairstylist, Karen from 12th Street. Oh yeah, she owns the Firefly. Yeah, girl, what's up?
Right.
It was that kind of situation.
Yeah.
It is also very much like an anime trope, like that they all happen to make the top 10 of their class. Like they're all the best of the best, and they all happen to be best friends or whatever. They all knew each other. It's not like some random in the corner or whatever.
No, but that's Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah, yeah.
The
I
best
was like,
fucking surgeon in the entire hospital.
you're telling me Armin is the same skill set as Mikasa and all these other, like, what? Come on. Everyone else sucked, apparently. Jesus.
I mean, you saw them get eaten. Yes, they do so.
It's true.
You're correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that force of will, man. All you have to do is believe.
Right. But I did, speaking of Armin, I did like the whole fact that the whole getting Annie in on the trap. I like that it was a plan from the beginning. They already knew and suspected that it was Annie, and it was all a ploy from the beginning. I was like, oh, that's kind of dope. And then the fact that she doesn't want to go underground, I was like, it started a piece into my head as in the moment. I was like, oh shit,
She's
shit,
the mole. Yeah, it's crazy.
So that reveal that Annie was the Titan, and I didn't I had to think about it afterwards, was her ring. You see her put a ring on earlier in that episode, and it didn't click to me because obviously later on she turns the ring and she's got a fucking spike in it so that she can stab herself basically and turn into a Titan. I was like, oh, that's why they showed that ring earlier. Oh shit,
She's married to Machine Gun Kelly because love is pain. Gotcha. Sorry, for people that don't understand that joke, Machine Gun Kelly gave Megan Fox an engagement ring that has a thorn on it because love is pain.
Oh, true.
Because they're the worst people
like
on earth, and I hate hearing information about them. Anywho.
But yeah, so I thought that reveal of Annie as the Titan, I thought was really well done.
Yeah, it was.
Because I was like, I should have known. She's a blonde female Titan. Like, it's a big blonde lady. I was like, there's only 2 blonde people I've seen so far. Krista and Annie. What the fuck?
The people kind of look like what they look like in real life. So it's like, once you figure out, it's like, wait a second. That is, of course,
I feel so dumb.
Just look at him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought that was good. And then obviously you get the big round 2 fight, which they fucked that whole district up. Holy shit, they fucked everything up.
It was big Superman vibes of like, I saved the city.
Yeah.
Oh.
That happens every time Thanos fight in the show. It's like
Everyone's dead.
Yeah, many people are dead underneath that.
Like, can we take this outside a little bit? Maybe to the fields? Like,
Right. I did really like that. Like, by the end of it, Annie is they fuck Annie up by the end of that fight. Like, she is running for her life trying to scale up that wall. And Aaron, you can tell he's super powered because his eyes go from green to blue. So whenever they change color, you know he's like souped up. And he's just like clawing at her with like no arm and like one leg, and he's just like it's like I was like, holy
Like, you're not getting away.
yeah, like I was like, holy fucking shit, this is amazing. And then I'm assuming they'll explore this. There's a moment he stops himself, obviously, because he sees Annie crying in the neck. And he stops himself for a second, which gives her, we didn't talk about this yet, was she has the ability to like kind of crystallize parts of her body to protect herself, which I thought was very interesting. So she kind of puts herself in this cool little coma thing, and they start to merge for a very brief moment. And there's a big deal about it, but nothing else happens. I'm hoping that comes in again, because I was like, I kind of wanted to see that happen. What the fuck happens if they merge?
Right.
What the fuck was? What the fuck?
we get Vegito from fucking Dragon Ball Z. What's going on?
So I thought that was good. Like that they're gonna hopefully explore more of Aaron, like why he held back. Obviously, it's because maybe he feels for Annie. He sees that she's crying. He wants to know or something. I don't know.
That was one of the people that he graduated with. Like, That was one of the things that he remembers when he fought her, is like when she did the leg sweep, he was like, I remember this. And then it,
Right.
cuts back to her doing that shit. And it's like, I thought we were friends. And like, she was kind of crass and a little bit, quiet and reserved and kind of a dick. But it was like, you could still tell that she cared about Aaron, because there was a point in time where it's like, I think something happened, anybody got bullied or something, and she kind of stuck up for him. And it was like, damn, bro, this is my home girl. And now she beating my ass. Like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
So that kind of sucks.
Yeah,
So I can understand where he could maybe be a little reserved, because I think the big thing about Aaron's growth is he hates these things because he doesn't know anything about them. And now he's finally starting to learn, like, some of these people are like just like me. Like, I'm one of them. So it's like, this might be my culture, quote unquote, things like that. And then he's like, he sees her and he's like, this is one of my homegirls. And now I know that she's also one of the people that could, be responsible for murdering my entire family or some shit. Like,
Right.
that's a hard realization you got to kind of go through.
And we know how Aaron would feel about that. He only has one response to any sort of
I want to kill them. Oh, I hate them.
He says that like 17 times, how much he wants to kill every single one of them.
Every single one that I see, I want to kill them.
But like they end up doing pretty good by the end of the season. I mean, they start off not knowing anything about the Titans, down 2 walls, with potentially to lose a third, the second wall. And not only do they, get a new friendly Titan on their side, but it's actually somebody that wants, like, it's Aaron, so they figure that out. They plug the hole, they take Trost back, and they end up capturing one of the sentient Titans, which is huge. So, like, they don't know a lot about it, but they end, humanity ends season 1 in pretty good shape. And with, like, some time to breathe and reset and kind of figure out what to do next, which obviously is try to go after the mystery.
Yeah, I'm glad that they didn't kill Annie, because I would have been pretty upset if he just chomped her to bits and that was the end of that storyline. I would have been pretty pissed off.
Nah, she's a very cool character.
Before I'm gonna scroll through any other thoughts I had, I did want to address the very ending. There's like even an end credit scene to this season, which I was not expecting, where there's fucking Titans in the wall. It's just a bunch. Is the wall just a bunch of Titans? What? They're all Han Solo'd? What the fuck is this? What is this nonsense?
The plot thickens, bro.
Which did help. Like, it did kind of make my brain go crank a bit, because I did have a thought earlier. I was like, how is this world even made if there are Titans constantly around? Like, how did this even happen? I was like, what? So I'm very intrigued to see how that mystery unsolved. Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. I did want to take a second and talk about, because did we talk about the songs, the theme songs? Was that on air? I don't even remember at this point.
We talked a little about how cool they were. We didn't talk like in depth about them.
I wanted to point out, thank God these are sung in Japanese, because the lyrics are fucking ridiculous.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
They're like so literal, and it would not make a good song in English.
And that's where it was like rhyming and things like that just don't work in other languages.
No.
So it becomes very, like you said, very literal, where it's like, and then we go to the wall, and then the wall breaks down. It's like, okay, I mean, sure. Also, this is kind of a spoiler, so maybe just don't pay attention to the intros. Some of the intros tell a lot about what's going to happen in the season.
I did have a thought about that.
A little
to be
out
honest,
of context sometimes, but especially like the last season, I noticed, I was like, as I was watching more episodes, I was like, that shit's in the intro. Wait a second.
Right. I did wonder about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, that you're kind of fucked for that, guys. Maybe don't do that.
That, and then I kind of really like there's at least one every episode for a commercial break where they have almost like some lore shit, where it's like an instruction manual at the beginning, at the end of a commercial break, basically. And I really enjoyed those little tidbits.
I always have to pause because it comes out way too fast.
It's so quick.
It's like, this Titan's about blah, 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 blah. Okay, bye. I'm like, what? Wait, I want to know more. No, this is one of those shows that have made me very much like look into lore about like around it, to read more about like the characters and what kind of happened in those situations. For that reason, I just think it's so interesting, like the story that they've created around what the fuck's going on here.
It's a very rich universe. That's what I like about it a lot. Like, it's very it definitely leaves you wanting to know more about the world. So,
because that's a thing that I personally have struggled with, and I think it's just an anime thing, and just having 21 minutes to cover multiple chapters of a manga.
Right.
It's like you don't have a lot of time to like sit with things. So like very intense moments will happen that are like pretty important to the story, but they'll go by so quickly that you kind of be like, wait, what hold up. What just happened there? And then so that'll make me want to like read and see like, okay, so like what is this person's connection to the story, like blah blah blah, things like that, because they'll very much be like, oh hey, I'm the fisherman, and the fisherman blah blah blah, by the way my daughter also said he's gonna fuck you up, and like, what the wait, hold up.
Yeah.
Right.
And then next thing you know, you get a commercial break, and then Aaron's beating up a woman randomly, and it's like, oh, okay, maybe I need to take a step back and figure out what's going on. It's like, I think that's one thing I do like about manga is that you do have time to sit with what you've read before you move
Right.
on. Whereas you only have 21 minutes to cover maybe a whole chapter in a lot of these situations. So that's been one thing that I've appreciated doing in this show specifically, because the show can get pretty dense. It feels a little more Game of Thrones than I initially expected. I thought it was going to be a normal shonen anime. I'm going to fight you because love and heart, and then that was going to be the end of it. And then they got into politics, and I was like, I don't know what to do with this. So
I'm interested to see if they get into that more, because they kind of it's not super heavy in that first season, but it is there, like with the whole what's his name, Pixis,
General Pixis,
and obviously like all the fucking D-bag people that are just holed up, and like even like with like the merchants who are like, my cart of the wagon needs to get through the gate, and they're like, we're all gonna die in about 5 seconds if you don't move your ass out of the way. I'm gonna kill you.
That's his livelihood, though. No, this show is interesting. I'll be interested to see what you think in the future, because the show is very grounded in that kind of aspect of life where it comes to like the humans and the politics and stuff like that. And that's why I think the show is very smart. People might disagree with me, but I think the show is very smartly written when it comes to like those kind of like political issues and things around like, like these people are rich as fuck, so they get to live and I don't, because I live in the poverty area. Like, fuck you guys. Like that kind of stuff I think is super cool.
There's a lot of themes like
even to the point where like the citizens get mad when the scouts come through, because they were like, why are we letting these injured people like get in here? They're eating our food, yada yada. They're just fodder. We don't give a shit about them. I'm like, God damn, these people are protecting your ass, bro. What the fuck?
But protecting is like an asterisk. Like protecting,
right?
They didn't really do much of anything, especially in that first attack.
Yeah, which is funny enough. That first scouting mission is like 7 episodes, and it didn't dawn on me till the end of that whole like kind of saga. That bit that was all one fucking day.
Yep.
All that Annie shit in the forest shit happened in one day. I was like, that was the longest day in the world. Holy shit. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But I wanted to rattle a couple quick things. There's a really big time jump early on in the second episode. There's that big time jump of 5 years. And the first thought when they shows everyone, well, first of all, Aaron, I was like, oh, Aaron's got his big boy voice going on now, which I thought was very funny. And then second of all, I was like, oh man, everyone thinks Mika says hot now, don't they? I was like, I was like, this is very anime. I feel. I was like, oh no, oh no.
Yeah.
I do one trope of anime I love is that there is always some random alternative music going on in the background at some point, and I love it. Some random guitar riff that I love.
You gotta
so
get some
very
hard
much.
rock whenever something really badass is happening, especially if it's a movie. Any anime movie always has to have some, like, if you watch old school Dragon Ball Z movies, it's all rock. It's all just hard rock for no reason.
It's like Dynasty Warriors.
Mhm.
There's always a dope guitar riff just for the action beats, and it's the best thing in the world.
I need you to listen to the 4 Seasons that theme song. I might send it to you after this. Yeah, I think it's fucking dope, but it's very much metalcore, and it's like, oh, that was a choice that was made by
Right.
somebody.
We didn't mention, because she's a big point, but it's just we're talking about the whole season. She kind of gets left out. We didn't talk about Hanji, she's the lunatic. She's a crazy person scientist, but she's hysterical. But she's
Hanja.
fucking insane. Yeah,
she's
I
dope.
love
I love her a whole lot. She's ridiculous and crazy, but she is super cool.
I liked her a lot,
Yeah.
but man, she frightened me at times.
Yes. She's definitely one of those kind of people that always has that kind of crazy face, because she's like, it's that doctor, and I think it's really interesting that they do, where it's like she doesn't necessarily care about ethics.
Right,
when
right.
it comes to the greater good.
She's just about science. Yeah.
Yes. She just loves science at the end.
She just wants to understand them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I was kind of sad when I guess we now know Annie killed the 2 Titans she had captured, because she was like, thought they were her children. Granted, because she tortured them, but she felt bad doing it. So I guess that makes it a little better. I don't know. I don't know.
They don't probably feel pain, right?
Man,
I don't
you
know.
got to learn about them somehow.
As she's
right?
putting a spear through its eye. Yeah.
They're like rats. It's so sad.
I have a problem when it comes to this show for myself, not a problem with the show, that every time at the end of the episode when it shows the preview, I always go next time like a crazy taxi driver every time it pops up for some reason. I don't know why, and I can't stop doing it.
What the fuck?
I don't know why, but at the end it's just next time. I don't know why. I can't stop doing it.
Next time on Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah. That
That's
and
funny.
I wanted to shout out the MP's tiny little jackets. They have these tiny little like 3/4 length jackets.
It's
And I'm
those
like,
girl jackets that were really popular in like the early 2000s.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like,
those
how are you
those jean
that
jackets.
mobile in those tiny little jackets? I don't
Like
understand.
my arms are not moving
No.
Yeah.
in them tight ass jackets. There's no way.
That's
There's
gonna be
no
some
way.
stiff
Yeah.
movement.
But don't you like the little salute they do? The little
Oh, their little
Mhm.
fists. Yeah.
yeah,
The
Yeah.
fist to
high
the chest.
boots.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they do got some. They got
They
those
do.
equestrian boots
This
going
is
on.
bad. This is bad mobility based armor.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
They look like Barbie about to ride a horse.
Everybody, the girls and the guys, are all wearing tights. Like they're all
Yes.
just wearing tights underneath those boots.
I mean, they're kind of dressed like whatever we see at the whatever women we see at the breweries in 2022. Like when the 3/4 length and the equestrian boots and the tight ass pants. Like
Yeah.
I don't know, bro. She like she about to order fucking gose. I don't know.
But
Yeah.
yeah, those are all of my like little tidbitty fun notes. But overall, man, I'm very excited to continue with this show.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So what are your theories, Oscar, for what?
Okay.
What
Yes.
okay, what do you think?
Give
is
us
going on?
two takes. I want to know your favorite character right now, and I want to know what do you predict to happen in the future of this show.
Okay, well, obviously it's Mikasa. She's the best so far.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's the most capable. She's dope. I would say we barely talked about him, but Levi is also a badass. But he's got a face I don't trust yet.
He looks the most like a K-pop star almost. Like he looks like
Oh my God,
maybe
he
like
does.
a J-pop.
He
Like,
does.
he's got that haircut and everything. I was like,
He's
this
got that
dude looks
bowl
like somebody
cut.
that's about to be the lead singer of the worst band I've ever heard. And I think that's what people like. That's an issue. As a fan of anime, is girls definitely like him a whole lot. They're attracted to him despite the way that he.
I'm not
yeah.
surprised. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I hate it.
It's probably
but
the
no, he's a
same
cool
way
ass
most
dude.
people are attracted to Mikasa, you know?
Fair point.
It's probably the same exact thing. But yeah, I do like Levi a lot because he is also very capable. He's a badass. He seems to know what he's doing at all times. But there's just something I'm a little worried every now and then of of his face. But I'm hoping that I did love his team up with him and Mikasa when they first take out Annie, and Annie like is about to fuck them up, and he goes in there, fucks her job, takes Aaron out of her mouth, and dips out. I'm like, this dude is the best. He's the best at everything he does.
No, Levi's definitely another trope that it's like there's two kind of capable characters that you often see in anime. One's the very green, the very Korra kind of character where they're like they know they're capable, they're kind of boisterous, they're kind of intense. The Vegetas, things like that. And
Right.
there's also the silent one where it's just like like
He's
the Shadow
Riku.
the Hedgehog kind of character.
He's
It's like,
Riku.
I don't really care about anything. I'm just here to get the job done.
Yeah.
And that's what Levi very much is. I think that's why people like him a whole lot because he's just very quiet and calculated. And it's like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, he's going to fucking do it. And then he's going to act like it was nothing every single time. And it's like, okay.
Basically.
He always be doing that.
Yeah, so I will say, I guess, probably Mikasa, but also honorable mention to my girl, Potato Girl. I love you so
Potato
much.
Girl Sasa. I like that.
Love Sasha.
And then as far as prediction goes, well, I would have said something about Annie, but based off the narration at the end where they say they captured her, but this is a mystery we won't know for a long, long time after a lot of terrible shit's gonna happen. So I don't think anything with that will happen soon. But I guess my prediction is that
I mean, there's Titan in the wall. What do you think about what's
there's
going to happen
Titans in the
with that?
wall. I think the Titans have their own weird shit going on, like class system. And maybe that's like a prison or a punishment or something that the Titans put upon their own kind. And I don't know. That it's very intriguing. But I would say that, and then I'm just gonna take a wild guess, even though I don't even think I fully believe it, is that the homeboy, the blonde commander guy, who's like Levi's commander of the scouts,
Erwin.
the blonde guy, whose name Irvin
Erwin.
Yeah.
Smith,
Yeah.
him, he's the colossal Titan. But I don't even fully believe
Ooh.
that. But I thought it'd be a fun guess.
That's a good theory.
Mostly because you guys were going to like who they kind of look like themselves. And he's got a big
Mhm.
oval shaped head as well, so why not?
I like that. Let's rewind when we finish the series. We'll rewind and play this clip, and we'll see how.
Right.
Oh yeah, how much of Erwin is in the first season?
Erwin's in it a decent amount because he's obviously leading out the whole capture Annie party. So
What do you think about Erwin? He's a pretty important character.
He's a mystery. I want to trust
You
him,
don't trust him?
much like Levi,
Yeah.
I don't trust him at all.
Yeah.
Mostly because he does a
Interesting.
lot of weird shit. Like there's that thing where he talks when they first discovered the two Titans that Annie killed before you know it, and he goes up to Aaron and he like whispers something weird. He's like, "Who do you think the real enemy is here?" And then he's like, he just walks away. And Aaron's like, "The fuck did that mean?" He's like, "Nothing, no context." So there's some weird mystery with him, obviously. So I don't fully trust him, but I do like that he seems to know everything that he's doing. And like like at the end of it, they put him in shackles and he's gonna go to jail for treason because of the whole Annie situation. So I do like that he's very confident in what he does, but there is something that I'm like, he knows more than he's telling. He definitely seems like he knows more than he's telling, and I want to know what's in his brain.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
I hope what's in his brain is another tiny human in his neck.
They're Titans of Titans, and then
There's
Titans of Titans.
Yeah.
That's
funny.
They fight like microbiomes now because they're just the smallest people.
But yeah, so those are my predictions for the future. We'll see how wrong I am.
Heck yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah, that was a lot of fun, guys. I quite enjoyed that.
I like that you're loving the show. It's making me happy because I think it's very good. I did not expect, because I wasn't gonna watch the show initially. It was gonna be like pretty low on my list of anime because there's so much I need to catch up on.
Right.
Like, I'll put an episode on, and then I saw that shit, and I was like, let me put on a couple more. let me see what else we got going on.
Right.
Here. Wait a second.
I do appreciate that I don't have to wait 3 years between season 1 and 2 like most people did when they first watched it. So I appreciate that.
Yeah. The strangle that manga has on us. At least you don't have to have a bunch of filler episodes like Dragon Ball Z had. That's pretty rough to go through.
Yeah. I do like that. Yeah. Even though 25 was a lot, it's not, like you said, Dragon Ball Z levels of filler and shit.
Well, you were waiting for the manga to catch up, so you just had to sit there.
Yeah. But no, I'm definitely excited. Listeners, let us know if you think we should continue doing this, even though we're probably going to continue this anyways. Especially by the end of this show, which none of us really know when it's ending.
Yeah, we don't know when it's ending because we don't want to look it up because we
which is fair. Yeah,
so none of us.
I was looking a little bit, and I think an episode didn't air this weekend. I think it's not airing until next weekend, and I don't know if that's the last episode or not.
Oh shit!
It can't. There's no way. There's no way. There's been too much. Well, never mind. I can't say anything.
Yeah, I just want to. It's called "The Dawn of Humanity." Is this episode, which sounds pretty finale-like, and that comes out April 4th. Not to time this our episode, but
sounds pretty.
That sounds pretty final.
Bad.
Yeah, April 4th, I guess, is the original air date. So I guess I don't know. Maybe this is okay. So never mind. We're back a few episodes. This is the air date in Japan, so we're way behind when it comes to Japan. Wait, what is happening? I don't know. We'll figure it out.
We're gonna
watch this episode. We're gonna love this show some more.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun. I definitely want to do this again with seasons 2, 3, and then the final season. And movie? Question mark? Who knows?
Question.
There's some video games out there. I'm not gonna play them.
Yeah, I don't want to either. No offense.
Could be a cool stream. We're not gonna play.
It would be a fun video game though. Be like Spider-Man, but you actually have some targets to go after.
If it's well made, I honestly don't know.
It looks kind of fun, but I don't know if it looks fun enough to spend like $60 on. From what I've seen of some of them.
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Shall we move on to our final segment of the week then, guys?
Let's do it.
Oh yeah.
Which we like to call Free for All, title pending. This is a segment, listeners, where we kind of do whatever we want. We can tell a story, we can recommend something, we can take a nap, we can rant, we can yell, we can do lots of anything or whatever. It's free for all. I can go first very quickly because mine is very much the same thing as I did last week, where I just finished season 2 of Ted Lasso now instead of just season 1. So I'm fully wrapped up with the show. I love this show. I fucking adored this show. Season 2, while in some ways different than season 1, still just as good. And I will say, I think my favorite episode of the show entirely is in the second season. No spoilers, but it's a very emotional and a very good, but also heartfelt episode. And this show is just, again, it's so positive yes, there's some dark places, but it's just surrounded by so much positivity and goodness around it, and it's also
Mhm.
very therapy positive, which I also believe is a thing most
Hell
people should
yeah.
believe in.
All the homies going to therapy.
Absolutely. Which so yeah, I love that aspect, and I also do love the soccer aspect of it. It's a lot of fun. It's just another like a little top of
Except
the
you never
top
know
of the.
how they're doing. But
Yeah, very true.
I'm sitting there, just give me a league table. I want to know. Ted Lasso's
I know we
amazing.
talked about this a little bit. This show's on Apple TV, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
And what would you consider it closest to as far as other TV shows, like maybe like a Schitt's Creek kind of thing?
Yeah, like that's what I was saying
Mm.
last week. I was like, I haven't watched Schitt's Creek, but the way you guys have described it to me, I would compare it the most to that, or even like Brian, based on what you said, to The Good Place as well, where it's just a very like positive thinking, positive show.
Right.
That's the best I could compare it to. Which makes me
Yeah.
want to go and watch those shows as well.
But it's very different from those two shows also. Like it's just, I don't know. Yeah. It's really good.
Yeah,
though.
I don't know. So that's the closest comparison I can make. But I would say
Yeah.
probably if you do enjoy those, you probably would enjoy this as well. Yeah, it's just it's just very fun as well. But I could also
Yeah.
see maybe if it's not some people's sense of humor, I could see maybe that might put them off, because it definitely has a very distinct sense of humor when it comes to like jokes and references and stuff that might just be
Mhm.
like off-putting for people. I don't know. But overall, man, I really, really enjoy the show. I'm watching it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty
Heck
glowing
yeah.
review.
Yeah.
I think I'll probably like it. The
Yeah.
only thing that was keeping me away from it was Apple TV because what the fuck?
That's 100%. That's why it took me this long to watch it too.
Yeah, but as far as like Jason Sudeikis and stuff like that, like I've liked stuff that he's been in. And I think of like The Office and shows like that, Parks and Rec. It feels akin to that as far as like the lightness of it.
Yeah.
So that's made me kind of interested. So I'll probably end up watching it, especially now that I've gotten your review and you've thought pretty highly of it. That I think I'll probably give it a chance because I do. Everyone deserves a feel good show because life
Yeah.
is hard. We all
Absolutely.
deserve to feel good sometimes.
Absolutely. This is definitely a feel good show, I would say. I can see how the Apple TV is a bit of a barrier, because
Yeah,
who the
that's
fuck has Apple TV?
that puts me off quite a bit. The same way that Paramount put me off quite a bit, but it's fine.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
fine. I'll
I
do what I
get
have to for the culture. Fucking whatever. I actually canceled HBO Max today.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
And they were like, "Why did you cancel it?" I was like, "Because the show that I'm watching isn't on
It's
anymore."
because you got nothing else on it.
That was the suggestion on there. It was like, "Is the show that I'm watching is no longer on there?" And I
Oh,
was like,
that's
"Yes,
hilarious.
correct. You were right. I watched Euphoria, and it's over now. Thank you." I can go next. I want to talk about something actually completely separate, even though I did watch some TV over the weekend. I want to talk a little bit. It's kind of a rant when it comes to tournaments. Because I watch a lot of video game tournaments. That's just kind of, I've always been into esports and like stuff like that. I competed back in the day, whatever. So I still keep up with it, even though I don't tend to play these games very competitively anymore. And I still like to watch it. And there was 2 tournaments on this weekend. There was Halo, and the Halo Competitive Series was on this weekend. They have a weekly cup. And then World of Warcraft, called the Arena World Championship. They have a monthly. They both happen to happen on the same weekend this weekend. So I watch both. Because I just like the team. Some of my friends play on some of these teams still, so it's kind of cool to watch. And my kind of issue is the way it works around money when it comes to entertainment and how it's so divisive when it comes down to it. Because I mean, we come from a space in the world where it's like, you know, Major League Baseball or something like that. Like these players make top dollar because they're the best at their sport. Football players, you know, the LeBron James, stuff like that. They make top dollars, not because of their personality, not because of, you know, how entertaining they are, but because they are good at what they do. Esports hasn't quite got there yet. Like streamers make a lot of money. We all know that because it's entertainment. So they can make millions of dollars from not even being good at a video game, but because they're actually just, you know, fun to watch. But the people that are really good at video games don't tend to make a lot of money. And a lot of the best people at video games don't tend to be the most entertaining. What's the best way to put that?
Charismatic. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe not charismatic, because some of these people are just, you know, just some fucking guy. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
And they don't necessarily, like, some of the people that I know that are on like the best teams in the world don't like to stream because that's not their forte. They're
Right.
like, I'm not very interesting. I don't like to talk a lot. I don't like to have a lot of people watching me. It's not my jam. But it's the best player in the world. You know what I mean? But you're almost expected to stream if you want to make any kind of success. And an issue we've had right now is World of Warcraft and Halo, both specifically with the weekly cups, is they don't pay a lot of money. And I think that we need to kind of look at that a little differently, considering right now competitive Halo is the only thing that's keeping Halo alive right now. And then their cups pay like outside of like the big cups, they pay like 2K split, but like 2K per person. You know what I mean? And it's
Right.
like, yeah,
Wow.
that's good if you win the cups, but that's for winning. Like that's first place. These
Oh
cups
shit.
aren't like, you know what I mean? They're for everybody. So it's not like it's just like, oh, I'm playing like, 2 teams and I win 2K. Like, no, like you might come home with nothing
Right.
week to week. And if you're a professional player and you only make 3K a month, that might not be sustainable for you to
Right.
continue to just do this for a living. And same with World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft, I think some of my friends, Liquid, shout out to Liquid, they just won their first cup this season, which is super dope for them. I'm proud of them, especially considering all the other shit that was going on in their lives. And they got 1250 each.
First place?
For first place, 1250 each, because 4 players on the team. So it's
Damn.
like, that kind of sucks. Like you get 6K, but it's like it has to get like split, like 5,
Right.
whatever. It's not a
Right.
lot of money, and that only happens once a month.
Yeah.
Luckily, 3 out of 4 of the players on there are like they stream, so that they make a lot of that revenue from that. But one of their teammates don't stream, and like they're on an organization, and I'm sure they get a stipend from that. But it's like that's not enough. If you don't like to stream and you just want to play the video game,
Right.
what do? You have to live at home basically. Some of these kids are like like almost 30. They just live at home because
Right.
they don't have really a choice because they want to do what they want to do with their lives, but don't have the money.
This tournament that they did, was there like an audience as they
Yeah, I
did
mean
it?
it's online. It's not like it's all online
Okay.
tournament. They haven't had a LAN in World of Warcraft in a while because of COVID.
Right.
But usually they tend to be so kind of World of Warcraft's a weird space, especially because they'll tend to be online tournaments that will lead to one big LAN at the end of the year, and that has like a huge prize pool, like $300,000 split between, it'll be like 150 for like first place or something. So that's where you make the bulk of your money. But I mean, you can't bank on that because most people won't even make it to that last part. You have to like qualify to even get there.
Where does money come from for game tournaments? Because
so this is coming directly from the company, and that's the issue. Is the people running these tournaments now? It's like Blizzard runs the World of Warcraft Arena Worlds like competitive cup right now, the same way that Halo does. So it's like these are $1 billion companies, and they're not even shelling out like 5K per person for the, you know what I mean? It's like this is part of the viewership of the game. Like they sell skins in Halo Infinite for these teams. You know what I mean? So you would think that would go towards the prize pool potentially, but it doesn't seem to.
Yeah,
they say it does, but it for some reason doesn't seem to.
Right.
Interesting.
And it's just one of those things where it's like I kind of hate that competitive sports in this realm haven't quite caught up to competitive sports in other
Right, because
realms.
it's like Dak Prescott, the Cowboys quarterback, got like $75 billion just for like last year.
Exactly. And that's the thing. It's like these people do like sponsorships and stuff like that. Like a lot of these people, like my friends and stuff that play on these teams, like have ad rolls and stuff popping up all over their screen and things like that. Some people do endorsements, like Razer mice or like keyboards. They'll like be on the commercials, like the ninja shit. Like it's that kind of stuff. And it's
guess it's just like like Ninja is very much the 1 in a million there.
Right, and the thing is, he's an entertainment. Like he's a good player. Don't get me wrong. He's very good at the games that he plays.
You said he sucked. You heard it here first.
But he's not competitive level anymore. You know what I mean? And it's not that he doesn't care about it to that level because he doesn't have to. Because he makes a ton of money from the entertainment aspect. But it's like there's people that are way better than Ninja at like Fortnite, but they don't get even a percentage point of his recognition because they aren't, as marketable. Yeah. They don't have blue hair and have a Fourtress in their basement that's all like glowing different colors. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're just an average person. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just some guy sitting on his computer that doesn't talk to anybody on his stream.
I just wonder what the relationship, because I guess, so yeah, you're saying that like the company's definitely pocketing or at least not fairly shelling out stuff. But I wonder, like some games, it seems like there has to be enough interest there to make a big payout, right? And like maybe a weekly cup, maybe restructure it to where it's like less frequent so that the prize money's bigger. I don't know, but like it seems like, but I'm just curious to get more, to learn more about like the balance they have to do between like interest in a game and like the eyes. I guess the eyes on the tournament, right? Because like if a game doesn't have enough eyes or something, then they can't, or like there can't be a lot of money in it, right?
Yeah, I don't want to get too far into it because I know we only have a limited amount of time. But like World of Warcraft specifically has like carried Blizzard for a long time. I know for a long time Hearthstone was the big game for like BlizzCon.
Right.
That's like the really big tournaments would happen is BlizzCon, and they had Hearthstone, which is their card game. They had Heroes of the Storm, which is their MOBA. They had World of Warcraft. They had Overwatch. They really tried hard to market Overwatch as an esport. It's kind of failed in a lot of aspects, but the viewership really often came from World of Warcraft. But then somehow at the same time, World of Warcraft was the lowest prize pool out of all the games. Like Hearthstone was one person. Hearthstone you play by yourself, and it had the highest prize pool. So like one person would take home like $250K.
Right.
And it's like, that's one person. I'm a 4-player team. 3 people play at the same time, but you usually have 3 people, then you have like an off person that you can like rotate in.
Right.
So I have to split $250K between 4 people. And then you still made my prize pool less than $250K. So I actually only get like, 75 when it comes down to it. And it's like, that kind of sucks. What the fuck?
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where it's just like, it's weird that they don't believe in certain, and I know like World of Warcraft's not easy to watch as an esport. I don't think I'm in the position that I don't think a lot of games should be esports, but that's a whole different thing. But it's just interesting to see that kind of thing. So I just wanted to rant about it a little bit, seeing these tournaments and seeing these players. Like, I mean, when I was competing in Halo 4 and watching people like play those games and stuff, like most people that like consider themselves professional player, which is like people that place top 8, top 16, they still worked at Best Buy. Like they weren't, they didn't make a livable wage. So it's like, imagine being a pro player and you tell people like, hey, I'm a professional Halo player.
Right.
As you sit there and check someone out at fucking Kroger. Like, it's
yeah, that sucks.
When you make so much money from marketing these people and putting them on t-shirts and all this other stuff, and then they can't even afford to pay their rent. Just feels kind of
still is somehow, like, considering video games are like the most profitable medium on the planet at this point. That there still is that divide between like mainstream and then the video games, because clear like all of our parents wouldn't know who Ninja is or some shit like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so there is that weird disconnect between those two. Whereas like with sports, like, I don't know what it is. It's interesting though.
Well, I was just gonna say, I'm curious where it'll be, 20 years from now, because I think every sport, when they start, the players get very exploited by like the owners and whatever else. In this case, that would be the game company. And like over time, when the players amass enough power, they then can go on like, they make like a players associations, and then they strike. Like this just happened in the MLB.
They unionize.
They went on strike
Right.
recently. So like, eventually if the players, like, so basically I guess what gaming is right now is they have to get to a point where the players have amassed enough power where they feel like they could stop competing, and that would hurt the tournaments. Like, so if you don't pay me more fairly, then I'm not going to compete, and therefore your tournament will suffer for that reason. You'd have to get. I feel like that might be something like that might be necessary to rebalance that.
I think I agree with that. I mean, that's where it sucks, because like the general media doesn't understand. People think, you're just playing video games and you're making money, and that's the end of it. But it's like, we just had the Race to World First that just ended today or yesterday, last night, where, it's for rating in World of Warcraft. So like the first person to beat like the hardest boss in the game at the time. It took 20 something days for them to finish this. They did this for 3 weeks straight, playing 16 hours a day.
Jesus.
16 hours a day. And at the end of it, like, they get paid by the organization, but they don't get paid by World of Warcraft or anything like that.
Right.
So it's like, and the same thing with the arena tournament that happened this weekend. It's like, these people have to compete. They have to practice. You have to play. So these people are playing like pretty hard hours, and they're not being compensated for those hours. And you get $1,200 from that. That's a normal weekly pay for a lot of people. You know what I mean? Like, that's like maybe $80,000 a year for a normal person to get paid $1,200 a week.
Right.
And this isn't weekly. This is a monthly tournament. $1,200 a month is poverty. Like,
right. Yeah. I guess it still goes back to like, people still have that disconnect where it's like, are you seriously going to pay someone to play video games all day? You know what I mean? It's still that weird disconnect, even if they are professionals or go into tournaments type of thing. It's weird.
At the end of the day, it makes people money, and that's why it deserves to be paid for.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
That's a very interesting thing, Brian. I was happy about that.
Yeah, that's good, man. Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah.
Well, yeah, speaking of e-tournaments, mine can be really quick, but I haven't really dabbled in it much until recently. But this week, I started watching the RLCS, which is the Rocket League Championship Series.
I watch it because one of my friends plays. He doesn't play on he's just in part of the company.
And I watched the Winter Snap Tournament. I watched it for the group stage, and I have never seen, like, I I've seen like highlights on YouTube of stuff of like people just making ridiculous plays in Rocket League, but I had never watched a full game of like pros playing against each other. And good Lord, the ball barely touches the ground ever. Like, it is insane.
It's pretty fucking lit, dude. I don't care about Rocket League, but I watched the tournament and it was
oh my
wild.
God, it's so much fun to watch. And like every game, just objectively, every game can be so, like they do like series of 5. Every series can be so tight. And like one of the games I watched like broke the record for like longest overtime ever.
Holy
Like it
shit.
took 10 minutes for this overtime to end. And like every player is just so perfect. Like how they move their car and stuff is so creative. And like I'm looking at the ball coming down. I'm like, how are they gonna? And then they just fly to meet it, and they like rotate their car the right way. And then they're sitting there. They can literally land on the ball in midair to reset their jump, and they call it a flip reset. Like they can land on the ball as it's falling in the air to
Oh my
reset their jump so
God.
that they can then do more tricks with it.
Right.
I had a great time watching it. So the finals were today, and it was fantastic. I had a really good time, and I'm gonna keep up with it.
Do you remember who was in the finals?
No, but I watched the semis, so I haven't seen the finals today. I gotta go watch the highlights from today. But I was rooting for a team called Space Station.
Yes, that's the team I know. I know one of the coaches from Halo that's on Space Station Gaming.
Oh, really?
And he was telling me about how they just recruited a new dude for Rocket League. His name is Daniel. And Daniel's like 15. He's like the youngest player in the Rocket League.
Yeah, Daniel.
And apparently he's just sick. Like this kid is just ridiculous. So I'm waiting and watching. I think they were in the finals, whatever last cup was. And that kid was just killing it. And I was like, how do you just the awareness of this game that people can just have is just so amazing. And it's just so underappreciated. So that was super cool.
Of video games, it's like one of the ones that's like most like a skill. Like it's most like an athletic skill. It's like actually get that good with the car where you like, can play. So I don't know. I had a great time watching it. And it's just all the things that are great. Rocket League is just, it's the reason we have video games, and it's objectively fun to watch.
I love that the first like tournament video game wise you watched was Rocket League.
I mean, of course it is. I just love that Rocket League is still a game that has competition. Like, what?
Right.
Yeah, I loved it. Anyway,
no, that's awesome, man. I love it. All right, good talks, guys. That's it for our show, everyone. We did a pretty long one today, but it was very exciting. Hope you enjoyed it. You can email us at thefortressof@gmail.com. Fortress spelled FOUR. Feel free to email us any questions, recommendations, or suggestions for topics or anything of the sort. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at thefortressof, also spelled FOUR, and the Fourtress of YouTube channel as well. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your grandma, tell your cat. Rate us 5 stars if you will. But also just say hi if you ever want to. We appreciate it.
Hell yeah. You can also follow me at facebook.com/ITZ, by the way, or instagram.com/ITZ_ by the way, or twitch.tv/by the way X.
Don't look for me on Instagram. Just go to RLCS or Rocket League Esports and just watch their
My name
content.
is Daniel. I'm 15. I play the green car. I usually play support/goalie.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah, I might have to check some of these pro Rocket League matches after this just to see them.
It's interesting, dude. I hate Rocket League, but it's wild.
Or Oscar, just download it, and then
that's true.
That's true.
It is free 99.
I have it. I just haven't played it yet. Yeah, I know. It's true. That's true. Maybe it's because I'm too afraid that I'll turn into Devin. But all right. Thank you, Brian, for the art. Thank you, Alex, for the music. Devin, thank you for being here as usual. Jackie, thank you for helping edit the podcast every week. Happy holidays, everyone. Devin
has turned into Missing No from Pokemon Red.
He did. It distracted me for a moment. And put a code on because it's cold out there.
Literally is.
And, become Missing No and be an impossible Pokemon to capture in Pokemon Red, like Devin just did just now.
Wait, is that me?
Yep. That's it. That's the whole phrase that's going to be on a t-shirt. All right. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you here next week in another episode of The Fourtress of...
What is what's it feeling with the